It's her. This is like वो होता है ना, what do we call it? Like
last recorded what? Friedkin live stream की थी ना आप लोगों ने?
no, last time क्या किया था हम लोगों ने?
लास्ट टाइम चैलेंजर्स वाला लाइव स्ट्रीम किया था जिसमें मैंने वरुण को अच्छी तरह से गाली दिया था, बट ठीक है.
Challenges live stream. No, last time you guys did warfare and all that. No, yeah.
Not the last live stream. Hendrila was in.
Hey, we have two people. One of them has to be Chris, but yeah, whatever. We do have two people.
I am backstage for a long time. Somebody is messaging. दूसरे वाले को घुसाओ.
Huh?
Where? Hendrila? Oh yeah, she's here. Okay, never mind. वो list. There's so many people here that I've got like a whole row, and then there's no one else showing.
Yeah. It's at the bottom now.
Yeah, it's at the bottom. Sorry, Hendrila. How are you?
I am sorry to all the viewers. I'm sorry to all the viewers. We are like technically damaged here.
पहले एक आदमी को बोलने दो please.
Little orderly fashion.
Yeah.
Okay, Sunny Deol.
ये क्या है?
Hendrila, sorry. You can speak. We apologize for not letting you speak or putting you on
it's
stage.
okay. I thought I was late to class, so the teacher made me stand outside.
नहीं वो this was StreamYard, so basically teachers technology made you stand outside more than anything else. But I think you were in the best position. अब तो torture चालू होने वाला है, you know. It's like the class के बाहर खड़ा होना is the better option than being part of this panel. But anyways,
Okay. I told Omoto a couple of times today that I'm incredibly bored, so I'd do anything.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I would still think you could find a better anything, but sure, as you wish.
Listen, even I agree. But क्या कर सकते हैं? I am the one who suggested the chill sesh.
Anyways, Devulina is here. Hi, Devulina. How are you? I think I don't know how long we are back for. We are back just because I think Sanjeet, Amartya, Varun and all wanted to talk about a bunch of films that they've watched and didn't want to do like a formal recording for it, and I didn't want to edit it neither.
And Chris joined us in the chat.
Chris joined us online, but his internet is not working courtesy Jio. I think we should.
Jio Dhandanathan is not quite.
Dhandanathan कोई Dhandanathan हो नहीं रहा है.
Yeah, so it's
also
basically
a sports movie written by Dhruv.
But he's here. He's watched all three of these movies, so he can chip in more than me at least about some of them because I've only watched one of the three. But I think
typical QID. The host watches the least movies at this point. Like this is a
this
pattern.
point is the correct thing to put there. I'm trying to improve. Okay, I watched 3 movies in 3 days. That's a big thing.
Is it?
Yeah, I watched 3 in 3.
They all
as
must
of now.
have been super depressing, so he must be. That's why he's looking so happy.
One of them was very depressing today. Yesterday, sorry. But 1 and 2. No, one of them was Sinners. You guys all love Sinners.
Even you like
इसलिए आप डिप्रेस्ड हो गए. We love it. आप तो खुश नहीं रहे.
No, I have issues. Like I don't love it, but I like it. I watched Senna otherwise, the good F1 movie.
F1 movie.
And for that we'll bring in
harsh.
So as you can see from the thumbnail, if anyone has joined, 2 people are here, so I'm guessing it's Devulina and Chris. Both of them know what movies we are talking about. But the first movie
again, might I remind everybody, this is literally private video chats being broadcast to YouTube. कोई देख नहीं रहा है इसको.
No, we hope that if people are not watching right now, it might. And Varun is expecting his parents to come and watch this, which means that Varun will be on good behavior.
I think it's now 9:30, 10. My parents must be asleep.
It's 10.
Useless, Varun.
My parents are useless.
Sir,
you are useless.
They are useful. If this
I wanted him to slip up.
Sanjeet sir, if this live stream is used for anthropological purposes 50 years down the line, humanity का बहुत depressing state होने वाला है, ठीक है?
कौन सा humanity?
आप छोड़ो.
It will be used. Trust me.
50 साल में.
Why do you think it works in retrospect?
No, but okay. Before we go to humans, can we go to cars? That's the only way I can translate.
I would much rather have watched Cars,
Casual.
but that's I think everybody at this point.
Cars, isn't the Pixar cars?
The Pixar Cars.
Okay.
I think
isn't that bad.
toss. Like
I
everybody
know,
has been away from this for a while.
For a while,
wow.
yeah.
You
But
guys are amazing.
Hendrila, you haven't seen F1, right? F1 the
I haven't
movie.
seen
Ahendila, I want to
Not
ask the
movies.
question. Have you seen movies?
I have. I have seen
Oh
pretty
my
good ones,
god!
but
Applause, everybody! Applause,
mean-
everybody!
I mean, okay. So because we're discussing F1, we just want to
I guess
start off with
someone
the
else,
disclaimer
no one
that,
else applauded.
we
Sorry.
just want to start off with the disclaimer that we don't condone Brad Pitt's behavior on that aircraft in any way. Alcoholism तो चलता रहेगा, होता रहता है बहुत लोगों को, but
हाँ, खुद पीते हो इसलिए अल्कोहलिज्म
खुद
चलता रहेगा.
तो वो चलता है.
you can't criticize me for drinking in a video call which has Amartya in it, okay?
Fine,
What the
can we
fuck?
start talking about
So I
the
just want to
movie?
say, that like we understand that Brad Pitt is a terrible human being. He has assaulted his wife. He has assaulted his children. We are cognizant of that, but like, well, I mean, picture
I actually wasn't until like
क्या
yesterday.
definition
wow.
है?
Yeah. Which, like, the only thing that
I mean, I
changes
also
for me
heard
is
about it
taking
only
credit
because of
away
sports.
from him from his role in the Tree of Life, in which he plays an abusive father. So
You're like he's like just being himself.
not being himself, but like, it's one of those things where I didn't know the specific. Like, I was looking at the particular excerpt, and I guess I'm in the lucky position of not having liked F1 the movie, so I'm on the good side for one.
अरे
But,
अजीब है. ये क्या?
no, I'm just saying, like, and it doesn't matter. Like, to me, the biggest change, and I'm a huge fan of his his act, like Brad Pitt, the actor. I've always admired and liked, and I've praised him several times. I think.
But that's when he's in like
one-
Cohen's or like some Soderbergh movie or something.
yeah, like I've seen, like I think he's been an actor more than a star for me, and I think that is a
And
big
it's Snatch, I think, for a
obstacle.
lot of people.
I've not seen Snatch, but but that's been a big obstacle for me when watching F1 the movie to come over that he's playing the star here, and I don't think he is a star in the traditional Tom Cruise
At least
sense.
not anymore.
Yeah.
At least
No,
not
I mean,
anymore.
because we mentioned
my
abusive
perspective.
fathers and Tree of Life and whatnot. I saw this great clip the other day on Instagram where Tom Cruise was doing the junket for Mission Impossible 8, and somebody's like, "So, what is your ideal Father's Day?" And you can just hear a pin drop in that 2-second silence that follows, and he's like, "Just make movies, just watch movies, make
Okay.
movies." I'm like, this is hilarious. It is a comedy short film in itself. Just watching a man be awkward because he's so absent from his child's life.
Yeah. Okay, one second. I think a bunch of comments have come, and then we'll start talking about F1 the movie. Then we will move on to Sitaare. I guess we'll move on to
Please
Sitaare Zameen
stop
because
calling.
Mahindra, you've
Please
seen
stop
it, right?
calling it F1
Yeah.
the movie. It sounds so
It's
American.
marketed
That's the
as
title.
F1 everywhere else. It's marketed
Yeah,
as
it's
F1
only
everywhere
released in
else.
America and Canada as F1 the movie.
Yeah.
No, in India as
you
well.
call it. I'll call
Indians
it
is stupid
F1.
also
Fine.
came.
Okay.
Indians is stupid also.
Okay, fine. I'll call it F1.
F1
Debate
movie
settled.
करते-करते, हाँ.
Okay.
हाँ,
Just-
क्योंकि
I'm
हम लोग
just
क्योंकि
getting a sense of what the live streams are like.
very आपकी acting में सादगी है. This is for Brad. What I was saying about Brad Pitt, I suppose.
Good movie.
Sadgi is not a
And then
word I would
art
say.
versus
Sadhgi
artist
is not the
debate.
term I would use, but okay.
Plug in that episode. Plug in the
Which
episode.
one? Oh yeah,
Art
we have
versus
done an
artist
art.
debate.
Yeah,
क्या hosting हो रहा है? क्या hosting हो रहा
Yeah, but
है?
that's a different topic we were talking about. So no, okay.
वो कोई
Let me just
savant थोड़ी है Queen is Dead वाला जो उसके दिमाग में
Let me
सारे
just
episodes ready हैं.
let me contextualize a bit.
Dhruv is having a
That-
nightmare right now. Don't worry, Dhruv, I'll take one.
I was supposed to have, like, this is the reason I've been putting this off. But anyways, but anyways,
Unstructured episodes.
like
Sacrifice.
anyways, my point is that in what you were talking about, we talked about art versus artist. I think when the Asghar Farhadi incident
Yes.
happened with
2020.
plagiarism,
2, I think.
Plagiarism,
Or 2021.
plagiarism with a
2021,
hero.
a hero had come
Right.
out. Yeah, a hero
Yeah,
had come
the
out.
22 Oscars time, I think. That's when
Yeah,
we
yeah,
put
yeah.
it out.
Yeah,
April
yeah. I
20.
think a hero had released, and I think there was this whole plagiarism
January,
thing. So
yeah.
I think there's a very different sort of dynamic here, and I mean, in some ways, you can see like F1 the movie, Sitaare Zameen Par, and what's the third one? Finishing, like if like that thing or like whatever. I would say Wes Anderson and Phoenician Scheme would be something more comparable to our episode when we were talking about the art versus artist. This is like the star comes here, star versus art, whatever that means, and what that sort of
Stardom
comes to.
stardom versus art, basically.
We are
I
actually
suppose.
now on the verge of sounding like broken records. I suggest we get to the thing because we've hashed the debate out a lot.
I've
In
been
all
trying to do that for the past 5
Yeah.
minutes, Varun.
Yeah, but you were
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Chris. I mean, I'm saved, I
Jio
guess.
bharose. Jio
Geo Bharosa.
bharose.
My God, I'll have to praise Mr. A. I don't
Bambani.
want to. Yeah. Anyways, F1 the movie, guys. What are your thoughts? I know we have a wide range of thoughts here, and Ahindra, you can tell us what all has been spoiled for you, and why are you not interested in watching the movie, or why you are, either or.
No, I was interested in watching the movie if I would have watched the movie on the big screen. But I
Sure.
mean, I do not have the privilege to go watch it on a big screen because I'm in my hometown, which is why
Okay.
I stuck to getting only spoilers through and through. And I have been told categorically by a very avid F1 fan that most of the things that they were talking about were either wrong or they were dumbed down for people who do
Sure.
not know much about F1. And they were
Sure.
basing most of the incidents that were taking place in the movie on actual events that have taken place in the F1 history. So I am more or less aware of the whole plot and stuff, but I can't comment on it because I haven't watched it. I only have third-person review of the whole movie.
I have a
Yeah.
question. Is there anything to spoil in that movie? Like story कुछ
I
है spoil
I
करने
literally
लायक.
messaged Ahindra this saying that we are going to spoil F1 the movie, but how does it matter at all if we spoil it? Like, it's one of those things. But
I think if you were to spoil what the film does with the sport for people, because if you think about it, F1 fans get very, very rare. 10 years mein ek baar they'll make a big movie about the sport, and then they go to
Yeah.
like, let's face it, F1 is at least getting like the big screen treatment. Billiards ke bare mein kaun bana raha hai picture? But nobody's making
Billiards.
Billiards. वो sport
I mean,
नहीं है.
who's making a movie about golf?
Color of Money was
Adam
billiards.
Sandler did.
Color of Money was 40 years ago.
Yeah, it was
Whatever.
86.
I'm just okay. Anyways,
So,
F1 is
so-
important
yeah,
to
because-
F1 fans.
To fans
जो
and
नहीं
also-
आने वाला है इस लाइव स्ट्रीम में, so we can stop.
Sir, एक thought तो हो जाने दो.
हाँ, खत्म करो जल्दी.
So I think the thing is also that when sports are broadcast in a certain manner, right? Fixed cameras,
Yeah.
and they're used to a certain format. So when you're getting a big screen treatment of a sport, you're like, okay, I'm interested in seeing how they'll push the envelope. And in that way, I would say F1 pushes the envelope a fair bit. I think the 180-degree camera is just a fascinating bit of engineering. And I'm very keen to find out more about it. I don't know whether Sanjeet has any insights on it. But
I already have found it. I'll send you the videos.
otherwise, I
You've
was
seen the
like,
behind the scenes.
otherwise, I was like, it could have been so. It could have been so much more. Like, we've all seen horses riding.
Could it?
Yes, because you can shoot it so much more dynamically. You look at something like, okay, this is going to sound insane, but bear with me. You look at
We are
something
used
like
to you saying insane stuff.
You look at like something like Lawrence of Arabia and the horses charging through the desert.
Okay, that is insane.
We've seen that same visual a million times in cinema, but the way Lean does it, it gives it so much scale. It gives it such grandeur of picture. That is something that Claudio Miranda and Kuczynski didn't do in my view. Like, too much of it was getting too close to the cars, and then you're like, okay, but I'm losing the larger picture because it is about competing, right? Essentially, it's about beating others to win, and that kind of was lost for me.
Sure.
That's the
Okay.
only spoiler, really. In my view, story-wise, there's nothing to spoil.
Yeah. Martya?
But I mean, coming
Sorry,
from a
Indra.
very, I mean, sorry to interject. No, sorry to interject. I think coming from a very, a person who has seen the sport on rare occasions and then just heard about the movie, coming from purely that perspective, isn't the whole idea of portraying the sport in a movie also a little different from how you portray it for actual audiences who are watching the sport?
Oh yeah,
Because
certainly.
because they would probably be doing a lot more close-ups and a lot more inside the car, how maybe the protagonists
So-
themselves are reacting to a certain thing in a way
Oh, it's
than
reaction
the
shot the
sport
movie.
itself, where
A lot of it.
yeah, when you do that, and I mean, in fact, I've also played that dinky little game on PS5, I think, or 4, where they
The
have
Formula
that
One
F1
game.
thing.
Yeah.
And there also you're like in the car, so and then all the time it's only like an image from outside, and they show you the tracks and they show you where you're going, etc. So isn't like the portrayal of the sport also supposed to differ?
I think it is. So I get your point. Last year, Film Companion did a series when they were still around. They did a series with cinematographers. So I think the first episode they shot was with Anil Mehta. I remember this
No,
because
Sudeep Chatterjee.
Sudeep Chatterjee was the first. I should know this, right? It's my
Yeah,
screen
the
test.
first one was Sudeep
Yeah.
Chatterjee.
I should know
Yeah.
this. But
Yeah, you should. You were
I
working there.
yeah, my name is there in that video. Anyway, so but the one Anil Mehta did was he talked about Lagan and how him and Amir Khan sort of, and I wrote about this in my review of F1, that him and Amir Khan got into this thing. Amir Khan was like, it should look like sport. And Anil Mehta was like, it's a movie, it has to look like drama. So
Correct.
I can't
Which
give
I
you the
agree.
wide, you can't have the cricket broadcast, what, 40, 50, 60 cameras nowadays. We've
Yes.
gone up to that number from only 22 cameras only 10 years ago. So I get that it's supposed to be different, but then it's supposed to be different. You're giving me very samey angles as well. Like I'm getting the same angles as I would of the track. So at least show off a different aspect of the race. When you cut to the close up, it's just it's again the visor thing. Funny enough, the fighter problem that a lot of us had, that you're not able to, because you're confining yourself to the physical element of the vehicle, when as a filmmaker you can do so much more. You can give me a pushback angle. You don't need to confine yourself to the architecture of the car.
Okay. Interesting.
Is what I feel.
Amartya, and I know Amartya, and I know Sanjeet is the biggest fan of the film out of all of us here. But Amartya, you go and
Fan
then
man,
Sanjeet.
कुछ नहीं यार. I like the movie. That's pretty much about it.
अभी आप शॉट उतारोगे और अंदर वो ब्रैड पिट का
हाँ,
tattoo.
5 star तो like के लिए डालते हैं.
Hey, I put 5 stars now easily for everything. I don't care only now these days. You think I
No,
care?
no, but
यही होता है
Amartya,
जब
please.
मैजिक,
Become a filmmaker.
यही होता है जब मैजिक ऑफ मूवीज निकल जाता है जब प्रोफेशन में रहते हो भाई. यही होता है. क्या
भाई,
होता है?
कोई
सर आपसे भी निकल गया और आप प्रोफेशन में नहीं हो.
हाँ,
अरे भाई,
मेरे
अमर्त्या,
से
आप
तो बहुत
बोलो.
सालों पहले निकल चुका है, वो छोड़ो.
बोलो.
No,
क्या-
I
what do
think
you-
no,
yeah.
I think I'm going to piggyback of Varun's statement, but I think one of the primary reasons why all those angles and everything else feels samey is because I think Kosinski is very much interested in the technicalities of filmmaking and how much he can push. So to that extent, I think he's more worried about novelty, right? So
Sure.
I think the mistake many people, including the audience, including the marketing team and everybody else thinks कि director का excitement movie को explore करने में जिस angle में है, the audience should feel that angle also. I don't necessarily agree.
Okay.
I think that audience should feel the drama of the race also. Audience should feel the fact that you have to win, but you also have to show that F1 is a team sport, which again brings the point कि F1 is a very technical sport. So if you are going to show me technical sport, you need to ground it in some level of reality. यहाँ पर
Bring in
जो हो
Michael
रहा है,
Mann's Ferrari, Amartya.
oh God, no. But again,
I was thinking about that movie when watching this.
In that blonde hairstyle and given nightmares again.
I like Michael Mann's Ferrari. That's why I was asking.
No.
But
I'm
anyways.
just saying
Why
the
you see your
technicalities. I'm just saying the technicalities की वजह से if you are going to show me F1, the entire movie is not about technicalities of F1. The entire movie is
No, it's
showing me कि loopholes क्या है F1 के
हाँ.
rules में, वो loopholes को break करो. And I'm like, पहली बात, if you are going to give me experiential filmmaking, a term which I absolutely despise at this point, experiential filmmaking, ठीक है कि थिएटर में घुसा के कॉकपिट में घुसा दो ऑडियंस को, वो एक्सपीरियंस डालो. I am like, okay, if you are going to give me experiential filmmaking and put the sport and put us in the mind of the sport, you have to maintain that reality. आप डाल रहे हो experiential filmmaking. You are telling me that you're putting me in the middle of the sport and then you're breaking every rule of the sport possible. होता नहीं है ना भाई. इसका मतलब क्या है?
You're saying it's an official rendition of the sport. You've got the FIA to give you clearance to shoot at all these races. The drivers are Lewis Hamilton, well, he's a co-producer, but Verstappen and all the other guys, they're all there.
Bottas.
Then you're like, how can you violate? It's like football में अगर वो अक्षय कुमार की तरह भागने लगे from नमस्ते
नहीं वो बात नहीं. It's like फुटबॉल में एक टीम को जिताने के लिए every second में कोई ऑफसाइड कर रहा है. I am like, कितना बार कोई ऑफसाइड कर सकता है?
कोच आ जाता है खेलने के लिए.
I guess what you guys are getting at is like that the name and everything, the name, feel, and whatever the whole experience they're aiming for is like authenticity. But like, but then what the narrative and sort of the way they are going about it is filled with sort of
Okay,
I
loopholes,
think I particularly didn't
right?
care about that aspect.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
But again,
For me,
because
it was non-existent for me. Like insignificance
because
of
my
that aspect
point
is.
again, because my point is not point wasn't entirely finished. क्योंकि यहाँ पर एक scene है. I also liked Kosinski, the engineer, basically. क्योंकि he clearly wants to give you something new. So he's experimenting with cameras. Like I messaged Sanjeet ki, how are you going to put those cameras inside the cars? You have to separate the battery packs and then you have to separate the lenses and then you have to connect the wires through the engine, right? That's what you have to do. That is the only way you can do it. At least according to me. So, and then you were like, hey, camera, there are some cameras who can now, disassemble like that. So, all those things, like, I think it gave Kosinski the substrate at least, because you have to make the cars on your own, right? So it gave him the substrate to actually install those cameras and then get those angles. So I was like, as much as I dislike the narrative and what it is, I can't deny the fact that the sound design is exceptional in this movie, and the fact that as a theatrical watch, it is really, really good. Like I can see it being a huge hit in theaters. I don't think it is going to be that much of a hit on OTT.
You think it's very much the definition of your theatrical,
it's very much the
which
definition.
is ironic that Apple Films is producing
Which
it,
is
and it's
ironic, exactly.
But
Apple ka ye ho raha.
this is what the streamers have been chasing since day one. They all want, aside from Netflix, which is very clearly disassociated itself from the theatrical format entirely, wherein they are like now they're getting bullish about it, right? Now they're getting like they're becoming assholes in public about it. That we don't care about what the filmmaker wants. But you did care when it was Martin Scorsese and an Oscar at stake. So
Mila
Apple
nahi na
is
abhi
also
tak Oscar,
running for
I
them.
think.
Nahi
Mila
milne
nahi na.
Didn't Roma win anything?
Roma lost the major award, no, to Green Book.
Of
Green
all
Book,
movies.
right.
Of all movies. KFC ended racism.
Okay. You remember that from that movie?
I do
Anyways.
remember that.
Top Gun
Amartya
has a
remembers
bit of-
movies he didn't like they personally insulted him in some way.
Yeah,
Like,
but
they came
that
into
means
the
he's
schoolyard
passionate
and
about them. It's fine.
beat him up. Yeah, but he remembers each movie he hated. Like
हाँ,
50
तो
million
ठीक है.
movies that he's watched.
Yeah, he's investing so much time now.
और क्या?
Might as
Effort
well
and
just hate
time
on
and
it.
passion.
And
Anyways,
his eyesight.
Exactly.
Sanjeet,
My eyesight is most important at this point.
yeah.
Time क्या है? Time तो मोह माया है. वो छोड़ो. Anyway.
Sanjeet.
No, I didn't particularly care anything about the technicalities of the sport per se, because
Sure.
I am first of all unaware. Nor do I care about.
Neither
the
am
sport
I
at all.
aware of the.
I will
of
never
F1 at
watch
all.
that sport out of my own, effort
Exactly.
in general. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Boring. I just don't care
Sir,
about the sport. In general.
people, you don't throw these blasphemous statements right, left, and center. Like, people like F1. Lots of people like it. That's what's made that much money.
Okay, when I was 7, my mamu tried to get me into F1 like properly because he is big on cars, and I was like, "ये लोग तो गाड़ी चला रहे हैं. What is so interesting? बंद करो ये."
No, that's a typical Varun statement. I don't see anything wrong.
Yeah,
with
You don't take it seriously, which you shouldn't. Yes, go ahead.
Any,
Yeah.
anything. I mean, Varun will be like, "ये सांस तो ले रहा है, ठीक है, इंसानी तो है."
हाँ, 3 साल बाद this same Varun will say कि he hated 3 Idiots when he was 10 years old. तो छोड़ो, कुछ नहीं कह सकते इसके बारे में.
आप इंजीनियर लोग उस पिक्चर को पकड़ के मतलब बैठे हुए हो बस.
Sir.
No,
So I
I-
people who
I-
left engineering.
Was released.
Sorry?
Huh?
I have a bigger question. You were 10 years old when 3 Idiots was released?
Yeah, I'm 1999 born.
You guys are the same.
You would
I was-
have been more surprised if
I'm
Chris was
not.
here. He's born in like 2002 or 2003, something stupid like that.
Yeah, Chris is
But
the
you know,
Anyways, Sanjeet, you were
No,
saying.
I, as I said, I didn't care anything about the technicality of the sport because I didn't know anything
Sure.
about it. Neither did I want to know anything about it.
Mhm.
I hadn't seen any of the trailers, but I did watch the haptic trailer without caring about the visuals, but about the experience that it gave me on my phone. So I was like, it's nice. I like it.
Mhm.
Do
अच्छा
more of
फ्लेक्स
this.
दे दिया. अच्छा फ्लेक्स दे दिया, but ठीक है, चलो. Moving
Huh?
on.
Hey, what
अच्छा
flex, man?
flex.
Even Dhruv has like 5 iPhones lying around.
सर ध्रुव
point
को
is-
मैं कंसीडर ही नहीं करता,
One
मैं
iPhone.
ध्रुव को कंसीडर ही नहीं करता, आप छोड़ो ध्रुव को
Okay, the
छोड़ो।
point being,
yeah.
from the beginning of the film, I was just engaged with the drama of it all. I didn't care at what pace it came at me. I was just with the character. So whatever was happening to the character, I was with the stakes of what will happen if he crashes or something like that.
Sure.
I liked certain parts of it in the sense like I liked he was not always winning. It was never about winning it.
I don't think he was
technically,
ever winning till the end.
but that's what I'm saying. So I liked about it. Like he loses a lot throughout the film. So I was like, I like it. Like it's never about like
I mean, it's
him
like
succeeding
raising
all the
stakes
time.
properly, not like just like
I
he's
mean-
in-
I mean, that
It was never about one-upmanship either in a way. Like even
Yeah.
though through it was sort of like the two-way thing. that
rivalry
was happening.
story. Like it reminded me. Have you seen? I'm the football person. So good goal. The story
Goal,
is
I know.
like goal that movie with
Yeah.
what's the Santiago
I did-
Muniz or whatever his face
Santiago
is.
Muniz, yeah.
Yes.
I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, Vivek Agnihotri.
वो second movie. Oh,
That is
Jesus
Dhan Dhanadhan
Christ,
goal.
Varun.
That is Dhan
There are
Dhanadhan goal,
three
not goal.
Ds.
Yes.
3 Ds before that. So anyway, the point is like I just was with the characters, so I was just enjoying
Sure.
the whole experience. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. My rating is not to be equated with it being a perfect movie. It
You
mostly
enjoyed it.
represents my personal experience with it, which is
Of course.
I went to PCX screen, which Varun knows what
Yeah.
the significance it holds in Hyderabad, and I just had a good time. Have Bollywood movie reference.
That
This is, I think, the
that
bigger
comment
question. Is
will
it
be-
better than Tara Rampam? for
I mean,
you?
it starts on the Tara Rampam track, essentially, Daytona.
Yeah.
Tire Rampam. There's so much tire in it. Anyways.
Now, one day we can just also plug in the Talladega Nights as well, which was fun.
Yes.
I mean, if you
really
want
wanna watch,
F1
like,
in
good
a
racing
Bollywood
movies.
movie, that's a Hrithik Roshan movie. It's called Bang
Which
Bang.
one?
Yes,
Oh, is it?
क्योंकि
Okay.
Bang
So
Bang में
again
Paris
directed
is-
by
Ah,
Siddharth
yes,
Anand.
Siddharth Anand.
Siddharth Anand.
He was
He's
No,
giving us
like-
all these experiences.
He was driving
Yeah,
an
okay.
F1 car on Paris का cobble street. I'm like,
No,
ये
not
गाड़ी
Paris. Not
survive नहीं
Paris.
करेगा.
Abu
It was
Dhabi.
Miami.
Highway.
Oh, Abu Dhabi.
Oh, Abu Dhabi, okay. But anyway, it was cobble street. I'm like, ये गाड़ी survive नहीं करेगा. Are you insane? But anyway.
Anyways, I guess you guys have
That's
said
beyond the point.
whatever.
Like, who cares anyway? Like, people haven't sat in F1 cars. So he's like, yeah, you know what? I can drive it on.
I mean, it's
Dude,
whatever.
now
It's
that
like
guy
trying
can
to.
make whatever that guy can make whatever movie he makes in his life. If it flops, people will bring
Is this
out.
for Hrithik Roshan, Chris, or is it
Yes,
for?
yes, yes.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
in
because
Bang
it's
Bang.
all like-
Okay.
Whatever you
The
can say
eyes
about F1
glaring.
poorly edited that movie, you can't exactly say.
Yeah. So I was about
I
to
also
say,
thought
like,
like
just
F1 was a very laborious film in a good way, in the sense like it felt like they put cameras wherever they wanted. So again, I wasn't wowed or anything by the cameras, or I didn't care much about it, the technique
okay.
per se.
You thought the
But I
technique
like-
vanished, sort of.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
technique vanished in a way. That's why I
For
didn't
you.
care much about it.
Okay.
I was like, just put me in there and let me have fun with it. That's the
Yeah.
point that I was trying to make. And I think it
Sure.
works fairly well. That's why I would want to go and watch it.
वही ना cockpit पे घुसाओ.
I want that. You do that, and if I'm enjoying it, I'm with it. Like, Fighter
Yeah.
didn't do that for me, for example. It was boring.
Sir,
Okay.
Like, you.
entirely understandable.
You know,
Yes.
that's the one thing. There are people who are telling me that F1 में वो गाड़ी he's using, that combat example is there. That वो गाड़ी ऐसे ठोक रहा है. How is that possible? These same people were okay with Fighter जिसमें वो 250 million pound का Sukhoi ठोक देता है. And I said वो कैसे ठीक था बे? Fighter
Right, that-
multi-role fighter.
All those things you shouldn't care only. That's what I'm saying.
No,
So,
but when
again,
people come at it with this argument, no, that
तो
it breaks
तो आप
me
सुनते
here,
क्यों
it
हो और
I'll
देखते
tell you,
क्यों
you
हो?
try
I'm gonna
yoga.
ask you
Sir,
then.
आपकी तो
Yeah.
Yoga will help you.
सर पीपल चूतिए है, आप मूव फॉरवर्ड करो.
Sir, मैं भी हूँ, don't worry.
This was PG rated until now.
Both Amartya and Varun should try
Essentially
yoga.
watching guys shake their. So okay, that's very interesting actually. But no, so I think I have whatever
At
I
least
guess
they're
you guys have
shaking their
said.
heads here.
Dhruv, continue. Quickly.
Anyways, no. I so again, I think the whole experiential thing, and I think I begrudgingly was like, I went into the cinema being like, I don't want to watch. I didn't have any interest in F1, the movie. Like just it, like the title
You have any
sounded.
interest in the sport?
No, but that doesn't make a difference. Like there's this film called EFUS, which is supposed to be very good, which is on baseball, which I want to watch.
It's fantastic. by the
Moneyball.
way.
Moneyball,
fantastic,
which
by the way.
which
That I've
stars
seen.
Brad Pitt, is about baseball. I don't know jack about baseball. I like
Right.
that movie.
No,
Very
because
boring sport, by the
that's
way.
usually a good primer of, because like I didn't have any expectations from this movie because I don't know what the damn hell F1
No, I
is.
think my expectations
So-
were also. I guess I'm the odd one out in not loving or liking particularly also Top Gun Maverick. You guys all loved
Right.
it, praised it to like
I liked
left, right,
it.
and
It
center.
was, I think I
So
liked F1 more than Top Gun for some reason.
so
Same.
I think in the MI
I'm
episode,
not.
you guys talked a lot about why Top Gun Maverick works a lot more than some of the MI films. So which I was like totally on the other side because I didn't get
And
much out of
definitely
Top
works
Gun
better
Maverick.
than MI8.
Well,
Yes,
more
it does.
what doesn't? It's just one of those situations. It's a really poor movie, I think. But anyways, I approached this from like a number of angles. So I do like the way it's made. So I was not into it as Sanjeet. Sanjeet, you forgot to mention the biggest reason why you loved the movie.
Kelly Condon.
Come on, Kerry Condon.
Oh, Kerry Condon,
That's
of course.
that was the reason you loved the movie. You yourself said. Yeah.
What all is cinema experience and all.
Ram
Just
ka-
No, but
Serious
I was very
serious
happy.
film critic, sir. आप simple. Plain and
I was
simple.
very
Yeah,
happy
Har
that they
dhruv
let
ki
her
apni
keep her
shriya.
Irish accent. Oh God.
Yes.
Also, yes,
Any-
loved it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, my point was that see on a level of sort of what Hardev Singh wrote, engineering, I was like, but a well-oiled machine is still a machine, kind of like that. I was like, that was the whole takeaway I had after the movie ended. I was like, this is like very solidly made, badly scripted, I think, with poor pacing issues. Some of because I think it peaks in a place when the aberrations, like he begins to break all the rules. Like there's one section in which I genuinely felt like like excitement is the one with the tire switching where it happens really quickly and the editing speed just like it's going on a sort
Yes.
of normal editing speed and it just ramps up into a montage and it's like fun. Like I thought that was really uplifting. But there are firstly I have a Brad Pitt issue with this. I think he's not charismatic in a way where I found
But
him
that's a very
in this
subjective
movie.
opinion.
Is he?
I don't
is
know.
he-
Yeah, in
would
this
you say
movie,
he's not
I-
Not like
self-driving
objectively you
or-
will point at Sara Ali Khan as like bad in like Love Aajkal and all that.
No. Of course, he's not
ये
bad,
क्या
but
comparison है?
there's a problem for me in the fact that he came across almost as much as I like Tom Cruise in Eyes Wide Shut. Like I wanted to punch him. I'm
He's
like I
not that
don't.
bad. He's not that bad. No,
No,
he's not
punch him
that
as in like
bad.
he's got that. It's one thing you have.
Smug.
He's the cocky bastard who doesn't,
Yeah.
who's not sincere. That's the difference. Like you can't give him a traumatic backstory, which is very half-assed, anyways. Like you give him like this, he's traumatized and all that, but then he also doesn't bring like he's not sincere enough to make you buy that he's this person who's gonna come in and rally everyone together. And I was just like,
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't
supposed to
buy
be this
that.
Yaron ka yaar, but who can't hold on. To
I
the
was
wife.
reminded of Chak De. He's almost framed like you Chak De India mein how Shah Rukh Khan is framed in some ways. Like where he's supposed to be this, where you get behind his struggle because firstly it's established well enough. I think here it's very flimsily established. Anyways,
Sir, पूरा story filmsy है. तो क्या
I
ही कर
know,
सकते
but I guess my bigger issues of it are not technical or character. I just despise this sort of movie. Like I don't know if that's more of a like on a very fundamental level. I know when Barbie came out, right? Everyone, I know it's a very divisive film and people reacted to it in very different ways. And the point
Yes.
is that some people said that it's a Barbie, like it became a sort of product movie in the sense that it became something that promoted the
Yeah.
product. And then there were others, which include, I am in that camp where I thought that Greta Gerwig's instincts and idiosyncrasies overpowered that. And I thought there was something she came out with where she made a film about a product that was curiously investigating or interrogating the product and its success or anything or whatever to do with. When I watched F1, I was like, I am watching an ad for F1. I don't want to watch an ad for F1, even if it's technically well made. I was just like,
I
I was just
don't.
like, I don't.
I disagree with you on this. Ki it is an ad for. It is like an ad for F1 because if it was like an ad for F1, I think you could have done it way better with a documentary or
No,
something.
way better is another. I agree with you.
But there's,
I'm just
it's just
saying.
like,
Ad only.
I don't think you can successfully qualify it as some sort of an ad or anything because an
by
ad.
really
ad
pushes
I
the
mean
agenda
that
though, right?
by
Successfully.
ad I mean is simply that it's Joseph Kaczynski, that's his name, right?
Yes.
It's almost like I'm
Yeah,
just clarifying
Yeah,
because one time I wrote James Kaczynski, right? So that's my fault. But
Johnny, all good.
yeah,
Johnny,
whatever. Like my point is that, and this I guess you can extend it to something like Dune Part 1 for me, where, or even some other Villeneuve stuff, where I'm like, there's too much. Like if the whole thing about auteurism and this great thing about directors is that they work in a system, but they manage to find, like the movie, loopholes in that system. These are filmmakers who are sort of too almost
Slavish to the
indebted,
system?
slavish to the system. Like, to me, it's like, I was thinking about these things. I probably shouldn't have been thinking about it while watching the movie, which I think is the movie's failing also. Because I was also thinking,
okay.
they mentioned about Brad Pitt having the same struggles as the other black character, and I was like, really? Like, it's like one of those things, like, I shouldn't be thinking about it in this movie, but I am thinking about it in this movie because I'm like what are you bringing to this? This has the.
I'm saying you weren't invested only in the.
I wasn't invested, so
essentially.
all these sort of things started accumulating for me, and then I was just like, I was like, why are we watching an ad? In my head.
I'm going to come in on that because I agree with Dhruv and Sanjeet that it's an ad.
Shocking.
It's also because F1 is the rare sport in the world which is trademarked.
Yeah.
Right? Cricket cannot be trademarked, football cannot be trademarked, tennis cannot be trademarked. Yes, if you say I want to make Wimbledon, that's trademarked, so you can't possibly won't make a Wimbledon movie without official sanctions from
They made that cheesy romance between Paul Bettany and Kristen Stewart, I think. No, Kirsten Dunst, not Kristen Stewart.
No, but if they're using the name Wimbledon Championships,
it's titled Wimbledon.
Wimbledon.
Oh yeah,
area
I forgot that movie existed. Oh.
So whatever. So the thing is, when you have to buy these rights and you don't get them on board, and you're going to end up making a product. Then your challenge as a filmmaker really is how interesting a product can you make within those confines. To me, because you're so wedded to the sport is why the rule breaking feels egregious.
Yes.
Right, it's even though I don't know anything. At best, I played like
but you get it, right?
I'm pretty certain ये मारामारी नहीं चल सकती है ये.
Yes.
This is not some
after a point कोई तो बोलेगा.
Suddenly I was like, am I playing GT? Am I watching a GTA movie on a racetrack? Mafia the game
has a fantastic log line, huh? That's a fantastic log line.
That will be a big sell for a lot of people, though.
कोई rockstar को भेजो.
So I think when a sport is trademarked like this and you've got to make it in a certain way, then you're sort of screwed. Whether you like it.
I would have been fine with that if I didn't find value in Barbie. No, like I think that's the whole thing for me. That comparison struck me.
I'm saying that the film should have maybe sought some sort of middle ground between getting like, because you can't build. Unless I'm mistaken, unless Apple really has,
like these sorts of movies are built on compromises. I understand that. I'm not asking for let's deconstruct F1 racing. I'm not asking for that at all.
What I'm saying is that because you cannot essentially build the infrastructure to shoot these movies on non-licensed tracks, you've got to be able to find some sort of middle ground. If it's everything is playing into that, then it's a.
No, but I thought the intent was more to do with efficiency. Like, if you see the film, if you see it as a pattern, again, I've seen it only once, and I was mostly blown away by the other ideas about the film. I liked how they were nicely balancing.
Sanjit was going to say something like, I was mostly high when watching it. I was like, don't make that kind of.
No, what I was trying to say was how it balances what the film thinks are personal moments with racing moments. That's the basic idea. If you read the screenplay, I think that's the basic idea of, or if you rewatch the movie or something. So I think that's why I said lean as a word when I messaged on the groups.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It doesn't want to get out of like a single track. That's the only road that you want to take.
Yeah.
It's gonna go through. It's like crests and troughs. So it's like I want to give them a high moment with like a racing
Yeah,
thing,
it's got-
and then of course there's something bad happens to them, and then there's a very introspective moment with him sitting in his house reading some notes or something in like very moody way or something. Gets back to
It's
track.
got
He's
its
practicing running.
classical
So it's got a pattern.
filmmaking, classical screenwriting. Like it's like the textbook example of how to write
That's-
which is
that's
fine. Like
precisely what I
that,
meant.
at this point,
It
we
doesn't
don't
want to
get
do
that.
much beyond that. Yeah.
No. I'm completely fine with that. I'm saying, but like when you are confined by, okay, let's say you're confined by the racing in a certain way, then your drama should maybe be slightly more interesting. If you're going to give me the same old done to death contrast of this is a guy who trains in the same mode as a Virat Kohli, which is Damson Idris's character JP, in that he has a conditioning coach, he has a nutritionist, Brad Pitt's way of
Marketing,
exercising is
everything, right?
one
He's the
run,
public image.
he goes for one run, then drinks a pint, and he's ready. So if
old school versus new school basically.
my
But
point
ये,
is exactly
this
that
and
इतना थकेला drama है that you're like, bro, what? Why?
You're basically criticizing the particular actions that are taking place in the.
Exactly. In the dramatic.
Which is fair, yeah. That's fair.
And-
Like, because you were like, you don't want to see the same kind of struggles. You want to see something more different.
Not
Like
just
what?
that,
And
I think I can forgive the F1 constraints because you have to. Okay, they
Right.
have one alternative, which is to.
You're
shoot
looking
on
for
the
novelty, essentially.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yes.
for novelty in the places where you can.
Correct.
actually have
can do novelty,
Correct.
not
I
where you
understand.
can't.
I understand.
Sure.
I think that's
because,
fair.
because वो novelty का side we are already seeing in the technicals, right? Because we are already seeing it in the camera work, we are already seeing it in
So
how the
I
action
think
is shown.
for them, when they decided to make the movie, I think the struggle for them more than the writing was
Yes.
how do we make it. I think so. More energies were spent over thinking about those. Like 100 million was spent about thinking about
I
those.
think this
And writing के लिए
dilemma
okay हाँ लिख लेंगे यार रास्ते में.
I think this dilemma
That's
is
how
why
they
a
made Mission
lot of
Impossible too.
yeah. I think that this dilemma is why many people are thinking about comparing Kosinski to Tony Scott in a way.
Tony Scott.
But I think the problem with that is कि Tony Scott wasn't exactly a one-trick pony. Like people in the early 2000s would have thought that he was a hack or something. Like he was Ridley Scott's lesser brother. But at this point, Ridley Scott से बहुत ऊपर ही है बंदा.
Trigger word.
Ridley Scott से बहुत ऊपर है. Ridley Scott से बहुत ऊपर
Consistency
है.
was the key though.
Yes.
Tony Scott's consistency was like the biggest factor of separating the two brothers.
And Tony Scott was a very melodramatic director.
Yeah.
Like he
Full on.
focused heavily on melodrama. So it's like
I mean, I would say Kosinski is pretty melodramatic with something like Maverick. It
He's
works.
melodramatic
But
here
I don't
also.
know-
I
Here
don't know.
also.
if he
Here
needs-
the melodrama doesn't work. No, that's the problem over there.
That's a
I don't know कितना वो Kosinski को credit दे और कितना हम वो Maverick के script को credit दे. That's also a bigger question.
I know. I think it's Kosinski only. It felt like he's directing the whole idea of even the script.
The script
There's
was
just
so
a
important.
writer just like. No, I'm just saying he feels like he's just telling you write this. He's like pinpointing everything. He doesn't want the writer to have any sort of say. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna have trouble shooting this, so let me just not have trouble with this. Just write this so that I can move on to shooting it.
I bring up
James Cameron
I bring up
for the Avatar
I
movies.
bring up the Tony
CBR
Scott point. मैं Avatar के बारे में नहीं जा रहा. I bring up the Tony Scott point because I
Okay,
recently
last
heard
point.
कि
We are moving on to Sitaare Zameen Par after this.
Crimson Tide का sequel आ रहा है. I recently heard that news and
Who's
I'm
directing
like,
it?
see, we don't know, and that is my bigger point. कि because this is Hollywood, they don't learn. So दो properties दे रहे हो हम Kosinski को, which feels like Tony Scott projects. One is a Top Gun sequel, one is an F1 movie, which feels like a Days of Thunder का spiritual.
Yeah.
So it's like Crimson Tide को भी उसको दे दे, and I'm like, you cannot do that because you need to write a good script. Crimson Tide का आधा से ज़्यादा point was the script and the performances. You cannot do that. You cannot interest Kosinski to that without having a good script. F1 showed us that acting is ill. वैसे नहीं होगा.
Probably. Let's see how long it lasts though.
I
We can
just
move to
one question.
Sitaare.
I think we'll and we'll move to that, but not now, right, Arvind? I don't think so.
No,
Or
I
not
don't think
now,
so.
as in like
As
not
a
for a
star-
while.
No,
Not
as a
provided.
star, definitely not.
His time
More
is
than a decade, I guess.
over for
I think the
him.
last movies I think the last movie sold on his name was the World War Z movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
After that, I don't think
Sold
so.
as
He
in like he
sold
made
it.
Ad Astra, which bombed. But that's a
Yeah,
totally
but
different
no,
sort
no,
of
What
movie.
about what about तुम लोगों का favorite? What about तुम लोगों
But
का
that's
favorite? Once Upon a
Tarantino and
Time in
Yeah,
DiCaprio
Hollywood?
also. Tarantino and
Yeah.
DiCaprio also holding it. So it's like,
no,
That's two
okay,
people. That's Tarantino.
That's
More than
Tarantino.
yeah,
anyone
that's what
else.
I'm saying. Tarantino's a bigger sell than everyone.
Tarantino and I
Yeah.
mean, funnily enough, for me, the draw of Once Upon a Time, aside from Tarantino, was really the fact that David Heyman wanted to make a film with him. Because Heyman has been such a studio producer all his life. Suddenly, you're going to be a
Potter
director's producer.
movies.
So
Yeah.
you know,
I think the
it's
star
very-
system in
No,
Hollywood
he made
ended a
Gravity
while
before
back
this.
now. I
though.
think. In any
He made
case.
Yeah, he
Gravity
made
before
Gravity
this.
before that. Yeah, he
Before
made
that?
Gravity
Yeah.
before that.
With,
Yeah,
but with
he made
Quaron,
Gravity
he had a relationship with Quaron from Harry Potter 3.
Correct,
already,
correct. But
right?
still, he did make one. That's the thing.
But Quaron
Heyday
also
movies.
steps out. He makes the
Acha,
best.
speaking about Heyman, as you can understand, we don't want to talk about Sitaare Zameen Par, so I am just stalling it as much as I can.
Why?
Hey, you
Wait
guys
a
like
second.
some of you liked it here.
I
liked it.
don't like it that much. I don't like it that
Okay,
much.
I'm
Anyway,
shifting though.
There is no
But
need
yeah.
to be
second.
warm up of energy autocratic.
Yeah, एक second.
Whoa, what a
Why?
picture.
That's the only picture I could find which was like widescreen.
Wow.
Not like
Again,
But
also,
it's
damn.
also because David Heyman ka naam aaya, we have to talk about this. At least we need to bring this up. The James Bond movie announcement.
He's
Oh.
producing it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's producing with Amy
David
Pascal.
Heyman, Amy Pascal. Yeah.
Do we
Danny
have
Villeneuve,
what
Amy
do
Pascal.
Amy Pascal
Game
and
over.
David Heyman. Yeah.
Game over.
Game over.
But
Well,
because of
after,
the Spider-Man stuff.
No, I think we should talk about Bond in a separate episode. We'll do
Yeah,
that.
No,
yeah.
I'm
I
just-
mean,
no, I'm
you
more
you
leisure, I
three
feel.
talk now.
I'm
Only you
just
three have seen
reminded-
it. I
No,
at
I'm
least
just-
I
No, you
haven't
be
seen
the
it.
alien amongst us.
Yeah. I'm just reminded of the fact कि आपने David
I
Heyman
am.
का नाम उठाया क्योंकि
हाँ.
Quaron was also connected to the Bond franchise because of Heyman.
Yeah.
But sir,
Yeah,
वो
yeah,
बहुत
sure.
times है ना, there are at least 20 directors floating around with the Bond project till they put an end to the suspense and said Villeneuve will direct. I
हाँ, तो ठीक है
for
ना, करने
years,
दो, जब आएगा
even-
करेगा वो.
Even with No Time to Die, पहले they said Jan de Vange is going to direct it, the guy who made 70.
Danny Boyle.
Danny Boyle.
He wrote him and John Hodges did a script on it, right? So
Yeah.
had a full-
Speaking of Danny Boyle, we are not talking about 28 years later because we have an episode planned on the franchise.
Okay, is it?
देखा भी
Okay.
नहीं है picture. अभी
वाह
Which I've heard I've heard great things about 28 years
I
later.
liked
Same.
it.
I haven't
Excited.
seen it either.
I liked it quite a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to
Moving on to Amir Khan ka raised eyebrow. Moving on to Amir Khan ka raised eyebrow at
अरे
Which I have
उसकी
not
acting
seen,
नहीं है
Varun's
रे,
not
उसका वो
seen.
Botox
That's it, right?
problem है रे.
And also, I wouldn't speak about it because like I said this on the group to you guys. My dad's very good college friend. His son is in the film, so then it's not
Oh.
appropriate.
Oh, is it? Lovely.
Yeah, the boy called Arush Datta is
इसको
one of the
कहते हैं
kids.
Which
conflict. इसको
character?
कहते हैं conflict of
Huh?
interest.
I don't know because I've not watched the film. I don't know the character.
let me Google.
Arush is his name.
आपको वैसे भी आमिर खान
He's
से
the-
3
he's
इडियट्स
the
के टाइम से
tall boy.
प्रॉब्लम है सर.
He's the tall boy who says "आप चुप करो sir" to Amir in the trailer.
Oh, right. I know.
Okay. Understood. Okay.
Anyways, I have not seen it. Varun's not seen
Subdeal.
it. All three of you have seen it, right?
Yeah. No,
What's
yeah.
good
Yeah,
about
go
this
for it.
movie, guys? And I don't mean it's like I
Unfortunately,
like
we have
Amir Khan in general. So I have no
Unfortunately, we
like.
have-
No, you won't like
Unfortunately,
it.
I've
That's
seen
for
it.
certain.
Yeah,
is
you
it?
definitely won't like
Okay.
it.
You won't like it.
Sochna
That's
bhi
for
mat.
certain.
I really like
Sochna bhi
Sitaare
mat.
Zameen Par.
No, you.
So
It's not
definitely
even
not
like
this.
There's nothing to
So
do with it.
definitely
not even a
not this.
percent closer to that film.
yes.
It's like
Yes.
there's no nuance in this. Like, अरे हटाओ.
Nuance.
I think the
Nuance क्या होता है? Nuance क्या
I
होता
think
है?
the good part and the bad part of both. It's just like the title is something calling back for the earlier film, but there's nothing related.
Okay. No, I don't need it to be related to it. I'm just saying that I've not been averse to his sensibility. I've liked Secret Superstar also.
I mean,
No, I didn't like Secret Superstar. Man.
You're
Yeah.
taking pot shots at me over 3 dates. My bigger problems with Amir are Lal Singh Chadda and Tugs of Hindustan.
मैंने देखी नहीं है दोनों सर. So
Tugs of Hindustan.
Oh,
Sir,
You haven't seen Lal Singh Chadda?
ना जो.
I
I have a
saw Lal
Forrest.
Singh.
I have a Forrest Gump allergy, you know. So I didn't.
Then to you will again full dislike.
Again, I have to Sanjeet कुछ
Anyways,
कुछ कहने
start
का
on Sitaare.
भाई, कहने
Ahindra,
का है कुछ.
you've been quiet.
Let
Everybody
Ahindra
started with you.
will start.
Sitaare Zameen Par.
Yeah,
That's okay.
Ahindra.
No, but I did like this Lal Singh Chadda a lot because I'm not a
I
huge
think
fan
a
of
lot of
Forrest
people
Gump.
here liked it. I think
Even
Even
I
I
people have
found
said
it
it's
fair.
better than Forrest
I
Gump.
like.
I've
I
not seen
hate
Forrest
Yeah,
Gump.
I personally thought it
I
was.
hate Forrest Gump. I don't like Forrest Gump at all. Literally.
No, I mean, it's a different. It's one of those films which has
Sitaare
aged
Zameen
very strangely, like the Forrest Gump. That is.
अमर्त्य सीधा चप्पल फेंकता. I to hate only.
No, I actually do. I waited it for a while.
अगर political activist होता ना वो
You know, I have a thing called
politicians
shame
के
list, where there are like a list of movies which I have not watched, which are like classics and all that. Amartya has a hate list, which is basically hit list, because he wants to literally murder everyone working on the movie.
Yeah. बहुत कुछ
Like,
है
you know, he
इसमें.
has one of those boards with everyone's faces and like a cross on their faces. Like,
Yeah.
ये दिखा
बहुत
ना,
कुछ है.
ये मरेगा.
बहुत कुछ है. सबसे ऊपर है लाला
सबसे
लैंड.
ऊपर आर्या स्टर.
सबसे
Oh
ऊपर है लाला
God.
लैंड, फिर बॉयज अफ्रेड.
ये दिखा ना मेरे को, ये मरा.
हाँ, बॉयज अफ्रेड के लिए 100%. फिर प्रॉमिसिंग यंग वुमन 100%. सॉल्ट बर्ड.
अरे बीच में विवेक अग्निहोत्री भी आ जाएगा. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Indra, go ahead, please, or Sitaare Zameen Par.
Sitaare Zameen Par is it's a very saccharine movie, is what it is.
Full on.
It is-
Full on.
Full on.
It's like a.
Yeah.
It's like
It's not a
sugar हो
spoonful
जाएगा.
of sugar.
It's
It's a
sugar हो
bowl
जाएगा.
full of sugar you are eating at the
It
same
is-
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
आदमी
it
को
is
sugar हो
precisely like
जाएगा
the
movie.
IRCTC tea. I mean, that's
Huh?
the best comparison I will find for it. You know, when you're traveling in Shatabdi and they give you that little tea pouch, and
Yes.
they give you a tea pouch which has the entire mixer. They don't just have like the black tea. They give you
Indra,
a tea
may I
pouch
stop
that
you
has
there
the-
for a second? Please
Yeah.
explain to
Yeah.
Dhruv what Shatabdi
I
is.
knew this was gonna come.
Yes.
I knew this was gonna come. You're so predictable.
But
I've
anyway,
traveled in a
we are
Shatabdi, by the way, but okay.
Once.
So when you're
Once.
traveling, doesn't matter. I've also traveled only a couple of times. But point
Yeah.
is, when you are taking your Shatabdi and one of those chair car trains, and they give you, especially on a Vande Bharat these days, I recently traveled and they gave one of those pouches, which is they give you hot water and you're just supposed to put that whole pouch in it, and it is an
Yeah.
elaichi flavored milk tea. Okay,
Yeah.
and you can neither drink it, you can nor
It's
can you spit
horrible.
it out because it is
Horrible.
bad, but it is also sweet. It is going to give you enough caffeine to keep your eyes open because you've taken a train at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. But it is, I mean, you should not drink. You should mandatorily drink water after that because you want the taste to go away after it. So that is the main point
Lovely.
of that. I
That
think,
is that
yeah, I
entire
think
description
that is-
applies to Sitaare Zameen Par to a T. That
Yeah,
entire
but
description.
that makes me want to watch it. I'll be honest.
It's an experience, if that's what you want to know. It's an experience.
It's like
Of
F1.
sitting
It's
in a train.
actual filmmaking.
I sell stuff anyway, so it's okay. This time, thank you. I feel very credited about my skill set. But the
Okay, I
point
think
is-
Chris
He
has an
got her
alternative
validation.
point of view.
Exactly that.
He got her
No, Chris too
validation.
absolutely hates it, I know.
Okay.
I've read his
No,
review.
also, I think the politics about disabled people is also very off. Like that, I think coming out of the theater, that's the only thing that I kept thinking about because I was like, there is something wrong with this. But again, I'm too able-bodied and privileged to be able to comment on this, so I do not know where to begin and what approach to take.
I thought there was
But
an essay
certainly-
coming from your end about this.
No,
Wasn't
I
it?
don't have time. I'm sorry.
You
There's no
have
time for
stopped
me to write
writing
it.
at this point. You have stopped like giving two flying fucks about writing at this
No, but
No,
I
no,
wanted
no,
to
no,
ask
no.
actually.
That
बच्चों
is
की
wrong.
फिल्म में तो PG-13 बातें कर लो.
I do a lot of writing, but those writing only go for other stuff. They don't end
Yeah.
up coming out in other forms. But
Yes.
yeah, true. I should.
No, but I wanted to ask actually because I mean he's been doing so is it the whole thing where he's central and everyone else is back, which is why I chose this photo because it felt like it was like
It's
everyone
very
else
good.
was
So,
backgrounded.
He's,
no?
I think he's the most
Really
supporting character technically
Yeah.
Actually,
to
okay.
the collective, I would say.
No, I think the
but
intent.
I think-
I think the intent is there, but I think the execution is
Sure.
utterly like.
I
कुछ नहीं
think
कह
I
सकते.
would give it the
No,
benefit of doubt of working with people
The
of
problem
disability.
I think with a movie or a main character like Amir Khan's in Sitaare Zameen Par is that he's too conscious of the fact that if actually a liberal arts student sat down to write an essay criticizing the character of Amir Khan, these are the pointers that would come out. So he is going to avoid
एक
all of
पेन
them.
दे रहा हूँ, एक
He's
पेन
going
और
to-
पेपर दे रहा हूँ. You can write it down. It's okay. It's
No, it's
okay.
fine.
I know
And-
the hand
and-
is literally.
and-
I know that I can see the hand literally trying.
No, but effectively the point is that he's taken all those pointers that can come at him because he is
Yes.
somebody who is also he is privileged, he's able-bodied, he's a
Hmm.
heteronormative male character
Hmm.
in a movie that deals with disabled people, a lot of
Hmm.
queerness on the spectrum. So what
Hmm.
these guys are doing is essentially they are coming and they are telling you that this is a male character and you cannot, despite the flaws that we are portraying, the flaws are at least not at these fundamental levels that a liberal arts journalist is going to comment at. So
Hmm.
whatever else the character may have a flaw of, those are human. And you will
Okay.
have to deal with them and eventually you'll grow to love them,
It's
which is a
entirely
problematic
reactionary
stance. It
filmmaking.
is,
It's entirely reactionary
yeah,
filmmaking in a way.
which is problematic because then you are,
Hmm.
I think, negating the whole aspect of a human story because none of
Hmm.
them can be like no human character can be perfect. And
Hmm.
you're showing that about a man who is not humane about a lot of stuff, but he's
Hmm.
learning about it.
Hmm.
But you are also constructing him in a way that he is
He's
and he's also
basically
such a
like a
fast learner.
sponge.
Like
He's basically like a sponge. He's like a
Is this
movie
the
character that's
Ayushmann
like a sponge.
Khurrana
Yes,
social
yes, 100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
message industrial complex,
Yeah, yeah,
much
yeah,
like
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
termed
yeah,
by
much
Chris?
like
So
it.
I'm not
Can
taking credit for
everybody
that.
can
But
everybody trademark that right now, please?
So
That's for Chris,
uh,
not for me.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
termed it. So
so
yeah.
so this there's this particular thing in screenwriting that these guys use that there are a lot of writers these
Hmm.
days use is that when and this is what I think you guys were also talking about when it came to F1 is
Hmm.
when there is a certain there's a sine curve of the story itself. So there's going
Hmm.
to be a low, there's going to be a high,
Hmm.
and that high is eventually going to pull the main character down to a certain low, and then the main
Yeah.
character will have to evolve in a certain way to rise from that failure, right?
Hmm.
But the problem of F1, I figured through that chaos, was that there were the same kind of struggles that were always being shown,
Hmm.
which is a problem for a good movie. The thing is that a lot of people in contemporary storytelling is advocating behind the scenes for
Hmm.
stories where you write stories where the character faces a unilateral problem and that problem only increases in its intensity as the story progresses. So instead
mm,
of making any kind of story multifaceted, screenwriters and a lot of directors are actively telling screenwriters to write movies in that scripts in that manner, primarily because it helps with marketing needs.
Sure.
So that is it's a real crisis in the screenwriting industry at the moment. I can make these comments. I'm a part of it. But the point is that you see a lot of these because these are essential for marketing stuff. So if there's a movie that's based on technical needs that is
Hmm.
only concerned about the messaging, etc., etc., unfortunately, the screenwriting will focus on a lot of same kind of struggles, but the intensity of it increasing with every lapse.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, because that is what marketing efforts for a movie call for, and advertising needs for a movie call for. Is the
Hmm.
narrative going for a toss in that in such a situation? 100%. Can the people who are writing such scripts do anything about it? A little less, because unfortunately, that's where the money is coming
absolutely
from.
nothing.
Hmm.
Absolutely nothing.
Hmm.
Cue that war song.
So
So you
Anyway,
think it's more like it's like almost like a commodified sort of thing, basically.
yeah,
For
yeah, it is. It
It
is.
is a Disney movie, essentially. It is a Disney movie.
It is
It's
completely.
it's
but
it's
Disney,
then
matlab
where?
Disney
Because and
Channel.
But I
unfortunately,
won't.
Disney Channel. It's not even
it
like
tries
Disney
very
movie
hard to be
theater.
Pixar. It
Yeah,
yeah,
tries
it
yeah,
very
yeah.
tries
hard
very
to be
hard.
It's not.
Pixar,
Like
but it
there's a
fails.
rat
Fails. Yeah, yeah.
sequence also
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
middle, which is
Fully,
like wow,
fully.
like
Yeah, yeah.
fully
Okay.
you're giving
But
me like
it's more
full,
like
and it's like full
yeah,
warm vibes. Like every direction you look, there's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
backlight. So sun is everywhere
It's
essentially.
so also
yeah.
There's
like
no
Music to
there's
har
no
jagah
trying
hai.
too
it's not
hard.
I
Music to
also
har
had a
jagah hai. Music
huge,
to har jagah hai. It's like
That is expected.
I
Harry,
also
you
had a
would
problem with
actually go
the
out, bro.
humor.
Huh?
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
had
yeah.
a problem with the humor. I thought the
Okay.
humor was on the nose. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm
Okay.
not a Friends fan, so it felt like they were literally
A
tickling
lot
me in
of people
certain
aren't. Those who
areas
are
so that
dumb fucks. But okay, I am pointing it especially to you.
Bro,
But okay,
why,
people
why
can
do you
like it.
bring hit list?
But
yeah.
Thank you.
but
Anyways.
but effectively, if effectively there's a lot of humor that they are then the making out of the entire of the list of characters or everybody,
Okay.
and they are tickling you and they are telling you, okay, now laugh, cue laughter.
Yes, yes.
No,
That
but
is
Laugh with
at
that
and
least
is how most of the movies.
in theory, it is still better than what Dilli Dark, something like Dilli Dark did in
Oh
general.
God, sir,
Okay.
मत बोलो ना यार उस picture का नाम.
I'm just giving
no,
an
people
example.
liked it. Only you
In
guys didn't
theory.
like it.
What you know? Okay, no,
A
I
lot
won't
of
get
people
into it.
apparently
I'm not
didn't
getting into
like it.
No, I'm not getting
Okay.
into it.
Anyway, sorry.
Andrula's,
No,
Andrula's making some great points. I did have a question though, Andrula.
Huh.
Is this Amir Khan in the same register of I am very conscious of the character I'm playing, which he has been since after Dangal, where he has been like super tuned into this is me, Amir Khan, playing a character, and he makes that very obvious.
I would say that was more evident Secret Superstar onwards.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it
I'm
is
not
in
counting
line with
Secret
that.
Superstar. So I'm saying Thugs, I'm saying Lal
Huh.
Singh, I'm saying this one.
I'm saying I agree. I would agree with that. I think
I
it's.
think yeah, I
would
think
say.
he's operating
Yeah,
in that
me
same
too.
register. I think LSC से थोड़ा कम है. LSC से थोड़ा कम है. LSC में
Because
थोड़ा
LSC,
I-
so he's
LSC में-
consistently blamed himself, right, for the
No,
failure
but
or
LSC
something,
में
right?
he
older
has to,
parts
no,
he's
because
done better.
everybody criticized him.
yeah.
Okay.
No, LSC में older parts where he's like, which is basically towards the end of the film. or
Right
something.
at the end, when Tere Hawale.
That's where his actual character really plays as like
Ah.
he doesn't realize he's in a film. That's the great part about it.
That's
So he's not
Amir Khan, the
acting.
actor, suddenly appearing for a minute or two in the.
No, but
Here he's like
here's for example,
Acting.
yeah, here and
No,
the,
I
the,
would.
the
Why?
most annoying part of it is that he's constantly trying so hard to act not drunk but disheveled. I don't know why they forced the character to look that disheveled throughout the movie.
Because
I
they're
mean,
doing a faithful remake. That's it.
Oh,
Co-
okay. Yeah, it's a
No,
remake.
that's
Sorry, I
fine.
forgot that also.
It's
Yeah.
a remake of Champions.
It's
Yeah.
a remake of
at
Champions.
least they,
Yeah.
but they are.
No,
just
I would
look
not
so
agree with
disheveled
what Chris
for-
is saying.
What? It
I
absolutely.
just-
I don't think so.
I don't
No,
think
no,
so.
no. I think
The
2018
eyebrow
का जो
thing,
trend- Oh, that
eyebrow thing, I
eyebrow
don't
is
agree
just
with.
dumb.
It's Botox, man. Like it's not him acting only, man. It's
Yeah,
like
that's-
literally, it's like if you watch Gajni now, you see his eyebrows, man. It's like it's Botox, man. It's not him acting, bro.
Not
It's
just
his
that,
eyebrows.
you look at someone like Kabir
You look,
Bedi.
you,
It's got the
Sanjeev is
same sort
literally
of.
traumatized by Sitaare Zameen Par. At this point, he can't watch any other Amir Khan
No,
movies
but
because those
you
eyebrows are
look at
traumatizing.
other actors who've done this stuff, right? Their faces are frozen similarly. Kabir Bedi used to be an expressive actor at one point.
Yeah, now he's
Now
like
it's-
stuck.
You're like, bro,
Frozen.
you look the same across movies.
संजीत
What's
एक बार
going
फिर
on?
से फेस करना
No,
एक
when we
बार
talk
फिर
about
से वो
Bond,
face-
when we talk about James Bond, we'll bring him up.
No,
Don't
he
worry.
will.
Kabir Bedi.
Kabir Bedi is in
100%.
He's an
favorite film,
he's an
Dilwale.
octopusy.
But this
He's
is a
an
problem
octopus.
across
Yeah.
the, this is a
He plays
problem for a
Govinda.
lot of people. I recently watched Bhul Chuk Maaf when it came on Prime, and I remember
It's become
I
a
was
problem
watching
for
it with my-
Rajkumar Rao.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
movies-
so Rajkumar Rao has also gotten his chin done. Like that's what
Oh.
pictures suggest at least.
Hmm.
So
No, he's admitted to
which
it
is
also.
why
No, he's admitted it.
Oh, okay.
He's admitted.
Okay, that
He's
I
the
did not
rare
know, but
Bollywood actor
exactly he's
to say,
gotten
yeah, I've
his
gotten cosmetic surgery.
he's gotten the chin reconstruction done. I was watching it with my parents, and my mother just went after 15 minutes into the movie. Who is this person? I don't recognize him. I was like, okay. And Ma, if like she actively loves Rajkumar Rao, so she's always done. So she was like, who is this person? I don't even recognize him. It's like, oh my god, how can a person look and like so now his facial expressions all look a lot more on the angry side because the chin is tapering, so his face is always more or less like a poker face
think
You
vibe.
know who he reminds me
I
of
think
now?
that's because he wants to be
Quite
that
sad.
action hero mold, na? Malik,
You
Malik.
remember-
Oh yeah,
I
he's doing like a mass movie, right? I was like,
He's
what-
doing a mass
what
movie.
is-
Malik.
Which has Proshenjit of all people as the
Yeah, that looks fun.
Oh.
I mean,
Seriously?
but,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, I was saying that
Nobody
Rajkumar
needs to,
looks
but
a
that's
lot
okay.
Rajkumar looks a lot like Supandi from Tinkle Comics now.
Yes, he does. Yes, he
Except
does.
he has more hair.
Yes, he does.
And he has more hair than Supandi,
Yes.
but like, yeah.
And his head isn't shaped like a Neanderthal like Supandi's was, but ठीक है.
No, but about the Sitaare Zameen Par,
Supandi is
I-
also catching strays now in our live stream. Neanderthal videos.
No,
You look
for
at
me,
his head. It looks like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. The Crystal Skull.
Yeah, Chris, what? That's a very specific detail that you're giving. I mean, like, is the time loop
Was it-
detailing
no,
that?
no. Is it the time
No,
loop?
it's
Is
another
it Gulf
conversation
Map
in
or
here.
is it you? Which one of those
I think
people
it's
is
him.
responsible
I
for
think
them
it's
wanting
him. I think it's him.
I mean, I wanted to watch for Bhamika Kapi, but apparently the movie's bad enough. So
Sir,
I
sir,
won't.
Apparently she's awful.
I have
Apparently
Bro,
she's
seen
do not
awful.
watch
She's
your time,
bad?
man.
Yeah, apparently she's
I mean,
I have,
oh,
because of
Sad.
because Vamika Gabi recently collaborated with Vishal Bhardwaj.
Oh,
Vishal
God.
Bhardwaj has got
Started again.
Disha
Let's not
Patni
bring
in
it
his
up.
new
Oh
movie.
God, not again.
No, he's
Please
got
don't
Disha
start on
Patni in
this.
his new movie. I was furious. I was like,
हाँ
Vishal,
तो
why are you?
वैक्स मॉडल बनाना होगा किसी को एक सीन के लिए यार
शाहिद कपूर के स्कल्पटर प्ले कर रहा है उसकी नई पिक्चर में.
हो सकता है
You don't know. We don't know.
who knows he's worked with actors and made them look much better than they are. I think Shraddha Kapoor gives a perfectly reasonable performance in Haider, which is
Haider.
which is something I can't say about anything else I've seen her in. So you know
Yeah.
he can pull off stuff with bad actors.
She's also perfectly Rotlu Atma in this movie, Ashiki 2. And
Yeah, she's fine in that
that's
also,
the best Rotlu Atma performance
I've
that
not
I've
watched
seen
that
after Karishma Kapoor in Dil Chahta Hai. No, sorry.
Dil to pagal
Karishma
hai.
Kapoor in what now? Once again,
Dil to
Karishma
pagal.
Kapoor in what now?
Dil to pagal hai. When she shouts at
Dil to
God,
pagal hai.
that's the most iconic scene.
Bro, what is it with the wire people and shouting at God and holding him responsible?
Oh, please don't mention Katrina Kaif.
Classic.
Katrina
Please
and
don't.
Katrina Kaif
No,
in Jab Tak Hai Jayenge.
no. Katrina Kaif is not Karishma Kapoor.
I remember Shah Rukh selling Jab Tak Hai Jaan as, oh, this time I'm going up against the greatest lover of all. And then there's silence and he's like, God.
That movie is very ridiculous. I wish it was
And
funny,
divine.
but
That
it's
movie
not.
is so
Dhruv will
dumb.
write a
That
paper
movie is so dumb.
about its divinity anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
About his divinity?
No, the movie's
ध्रुव के पास-
divinity.
I
ध्रुव के
don't
पास
like that
divine
movie.
है। ध्रुव
I
के
know
पास
you might just
एक
at the
paper
end of the day.
पढ़ने का टाइम नहीं है, लिखेगा क्या?
हाँ वही ना.
टाइम बहुत है आपका मैं पढ़ना चाहता नहीं हूँ इट्स वेरी सिंपल
मांगा खुद था, मैंने भेजा नहीं था. बोलता है पढ़ना है भेजो.
No, but quickly about Sitaare Zameen Par, I thought
यस फिनिश ऑफ
since they were working with people with
Finish off, we
disability
were
or
saying something.
huh?
क्या कह रहे थे हम लोग? No, Dhruv is saying finish off. I'm like we were saying something.
no
क्या कह
Sanjeet
रहे
was
थे?
trying to say
Oh, like,
something about
Sanjeev
Sitaare
said
Zameen
something
Par
valuable. Indra said something valuable. आप
Yeah.
ये
No,
राम
just-
गोपाल वर्मा वाला कर रहे हो.
सुपन वर्मा भी नहीं. सुपन वर्मा भी नहीं.
गोपाल वर्मा
That's
नहीं,
not-
राम गोपाल वर्मा.
she's
The
not
ghost
giving
movie
अच्छा
font in my-
Yeah.
Tripti Dimri in Vicky or with whatever
Yeah,
what's
Vicky
की
that
विद्या
वाला
का
video.
वो वाला वीडियो.
हाँ, okay. She got
Oh my God,
she won
it's one
national
good-
award for
वो
Dil
वाला
to Pagal hai.
last
Dil to Pagal hai.
I was like,
I saw. Wait a second. I saw Dil To Pagal hai. I saw Dil To Pagal. I was like, there are 15 songs in the movie. How the fuck did that movie?
It's a
get
musical.
Emmy award?
I mean,
But Karishma Kapoor is so good in Zubeda. Why would did she
Oh,
win for
she's
that
amazing.
as well?
I think she won.
I'm
for
sure
that
she
as well.
didn't.
I think she
Did
won for
she win for
that.
that? I thought
She
she
won?
won for that. I thought she
Yeah,
won
might
for
be
that.
for that, Devulina, not for Dil to Pagal
Yeah.
hai. That would be very odd. Abhi, that time
No,
we
no,
weren't
no,
as
no,
broken
no,
as we are now.
One second. नेशनल अवार्ड का प्रेसिडेंस है कि अजय देवगन को कोई भी मूवी के लिए दे दे. ठीक है, नेशनल अवार्ड एट दिस
No,
पॉइंट.
no,
So
sir.
it's like,
Let's be fair. Ajay Devgan had won it twice in 25 years, and then he suddenly got it for Tanaji. But by then the whole national awards का complexion had changed. वो
हाँ.
रुस्तम के लिए दे चुके थे अक्षय.
हाँ रुस्तम के लिए
हाँ,
मिला था
नहीं
ना
ना.
चलेगा
उसको,
फिर.
हाँ, तो हो गया. Anyways, we don't talk about yes.
National
I
Award for
agree.
Best Supporting Actress
Supporting actress. For Dil to Pagal hai.
for Dil To Pagal hai.
Yeah.
I mean,
see, national
did
awards
some
even at that time were idiots.
Chuna somewhere, but anyways, Sanjeet Sitaare Zameen Par.
No, what I was trying to say is they intended to make this that kind of movie only. It's like, so I don't know how much Amartya would agree to this, but like there's like very casual energy about just like even arguments. Like they're like, you know,
Yeah.
if they're having an argument, it doesn't even feel like an argument. It's like so saccharine to the like,
अरे वही
brim
ना
of the cup or
Disney
something
channel.
like that.
अरे
It's
वही
like,
ना Disney channel.
Yeah,
Disney,
yeah,
Disney
yeah,
channel.
it's like nothing is real. So
It is
you have
all
to, like,
it is all not campus due students coming to Mandi House and talking about it and then getting in their father's Porsche and driving off. I can now throw Delhi references. So yeah, it is that.
Congratulations, you have
Congrats.
stayed there for long enough.
I feel bad
no,
for you.
The point it's evidently just that because everywhere you look there is backlight on everyone. So it's like trying to present itself with just the most bright image that is possible. It's like not even
Did
making
Janusz
like if you
Kaminski
see.
shoot it?
No, Janusz Kaminski would have made like little bluish or like something like that.
I'm
But
kidding, I'm
the point
kidding,
is,
very
it's
well.
like fully warm. It's like pleasing to your
Sure,
eyes.
yeah.
And
But at least you
like, the
noticed that
comedy
it's
also-
shot well. So, well as in
It's
like
not
it's
short.
short.
Like it's short for what they wanted. It's
short.
not like
Sure.
It's short.
it's
Short. Well,
Functional.
Amartya saying it's a movie.
it's a movie.
It's a
That's
movie,
It's
yeah.
short.
It's short. That's
Like it had a camera and lenses.
Sure. I'm
No,
gonna
I
move
think
on
what
from this to someone who knows whose whole shtick is with this all. So, anyways, go.
No,
ahead.
no. The point is, even it's like obvious, like when they transition from sets to some location, it's like the
Yeah.
interior exterior is, it's not continuous. It's like cutting nicely.
Okay.
It doesn't want to enforce anything on you. It's just like, this is there. I'm giving you the whole
Enforce
plate.
visually anything on you, but emotionally everything, right? That's the
Emotionally
concept.
everything. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So when
Everything
she's
मतलब
talking
full
about humor as well,
बस्ता ऊपर फेंक रहा है.
it's
Literally.
it's using its elements like the tools of filmmaking to its best of use. It's like, you know what, I'm just gonna cut it to make humor work. I'm not gonna keep it in like a wide frame or something. I'm just gonna cut it from person to person, and it's like shot, reverse shot, so that it's not even like they're in the same frame and reacting and acting to the same thing. It's
Sure.
like just get the performance
gave us
out
a
from.
great example of not very long ago. Tom
What?
Cruise and
Sorry?
Williams short reverse
Oh,
shot.
good lord!
Which
Mission
one?
Impossible has one of the worst examples of a short reverse
Oh
shot
God,
like
It's the
issue.
boardroom thing?
No, there's one
no,
scene
no,
in Seven
it's
where
in
the
the
short
Dead
reverse
Reckoning.
shot pattern
It's in
goes
Dead
for a
Reckoning,
toss. In Dead Reckoning
Seven?
Part 1. 7, yes.
Okay, oh.
Because
I
it
know
was, I think,
I
COVID
need to check.
related. Might have been.
No, I strongly believe those were COVID related or reshoot shit.
Yeah.
But before
Yeah.
Amartya comes in and says he hates everybody and how the movie is bad and everything,
I
I'd just
didn't
like
say
to mention that there's one little caveat
The
in
fuck?
the movie. Well, language. Point is
I
that
think we passed
there's one
past that warning
Who is
stamp.
saying this?
I'm very
Anyways,
mindful
Hindala,
about
please
that.
complete
Continue,
what you were
continue,
trying to
please.
say.
Yeah.
There's a very like nice little thing about the character of Amir Khan, which I think beggars like a backstory altogether or a little more exploration, because there's this entire thing about how he is afraid of being a father, because he is afraid of the fact that his own father left at a very young age, etc., etc. But that is a portion that they're trying to give a character an emotional backstory and some element of childhood trauma, but that is also toned down
Perfunctory.
in a way,
That is perfunctory.
especially because the way in which the characters also then are talking about it, they are just plugging it into conversations, which was also a problem for me, because I was like, okay, if you are being this mindful when you are portraying persons with disabilities, you can also just randomly get people to talk about childhood trauma and then brush aside that point also. Ki, oh, this is all either for love or for the fact that this person has left, etc., etc. in random conversations. No regard
It's
for
very
the fact
casual.
that somebody.
It's very
Yeah,
casual.
it's
सब
very
कुछ ही
casual.
casual है. सब कुछ ही casual है
Yeah.
basically.
It's a little too casual, which is why when you reach a resolution about that aspect also, which is why the whole separation from Genelia and why it's just stupid and why it becomes even more stupid. It at one
She's
point
there
of
for
time,
how
you just
long?
go,
20 minutes? Special appearance?
No,
I think
just-
No. Fair.
थोड़ा ज़्यादा है. थोड़ा
Okay.
ज़्यादा है.
And she's in a song montage also, so it takes.
Yeah.
There's a
थोड़ा
song?
ज़्यादा है. Yeah.
Okay.
Shankar
But
Ehsaan
was
Loy with
getting
another
all of
mediocre
that-
soundtrack.
True.
Yeah, I saw the credits. I've written down Shankar Ehsaan. I was like, they did the music?
Yeah, but the
Anyway.
music's been unremarkable for a very long time.
For a while, I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
they've not done many
Ram
movies
Sampath
also.
was credited as the
The
background
score,
score,
Background
which I
score.
guess.
He
Yeah.
just give him music.
He's doing a
right?
lot
He
of
did,
heavy lifting for no
Sajni
reason
and
for
Doubtfire
emotions.
last year for,
Okay.
this one.
I mean, he was
Lapata
paid
Ladies.
for
Lapata Ladies. Good music.
Doubtfire is such
Matya-
a fantastically composed song. I was just.
I love that.
listening to
I
it.
agree with her.
Which one?
Bloody good song.
Doubtfire. It's from your favorite.
Lapata Ladies.
My favorite, yeah, okay. Fine.
Yeah.
But no, Shankar Ehsaan Loy not done good work in 10 years at least.
10 years?
Oh, no.
I remember
Dil
the last
Dhadakne
time
To was the
was
last full
Unremarkable.
album.
Unremarkable,
What?
basically.
Which
No,
one?
I
Which one?
think
Dil Dhadakne
I
To.
did really like No, but I also did really like Bandish Bandit season 1.
Oh yeah,
I think
that alternative.
that's
film.
Yeah.
What happened
entirely
in
they
season
gave the
2?
music.
What happened in
Not
season
in
2 with the
terms-
songs?
Yeah.
With the
No.
songs also season 2 was shite. Like season 2
I haven't seen
No,
it.
songs
they
were
were
shite.
not. They were not that. They were not, I think, entirely responsible for season 2, but they did a very good job with season 1 because they at least got the normal populace to like
Yeah.
Sure.
Hindustani classical in
Also,
some
I
way.
mean, these
Like
older
even
composers. I'm sorry, Angela. Go ahead.
no, all I was saying is just, I mean, getting the normal people to constantly go on and on about Garaj, which is based on Malhar, is like a theme. So Malhar is not something that is palatable for everyone until unless they're like into Hindustani classics. That's why.
Okay.
You know
Okay,
what they
move
gave
on
music
to-
for
These,
Sorry, go ahead.
recently?
huh?
Our favorite Sam Bahadur.
Yeah,
Good
but
lord.
that's what I'm saying, right? That these are composers who used to do 8
That's
and 9
that's
track-
PTSD. Like actually, anyways.
These are people who used to do 8 and 9 track albums at one point.
I know they used to be
Suddenly
so
the whole
good.
format has forced them into this that ये situation है और इस पे आप 4 मिनट का गाना बनाओ, वो situation है उसमें 2 मिनट का.
I think Razi had fairly recognizable.
Razi had good decent
but Razi,
songs.
Air Watan is not an original composition. They've taken the
Huh.
Yeah.
But still, it's their music.
What's
in the film
the
which actually
Kashmiri
puts them on the-
during the time when
Dilbaro.
she's being
Dilbaro.
Dilbaro is
Dilbaro.
nice, yeah.
Yeah, but like that's one or two songs here or
And
there.
I
That way
mean,
तो यार मैं
you are asking for examples. This is
I think-
चुन
I
चुन की
think-
देंगे ना.
I think Sam Bahadur में भी then दम है तो आजा is very interesting.
सर साहब बहादुर में कुछ नहीं था. कुछ नहीं है उस पिक्चर में. कुछ भी नहीं.
Hit list. Hit list.
कुछ
Yeah.
like literally कुछ भी
अब
नहीं
ये
है.
उसका
Like,
हिट लिस्ट है, मेरा नहीं, ये उसका हिट लिस्ट है.
that is 100% my hit list. I hate that movie. Like I genuinely hate it.
मेघना गुलजार
I've not watched
इतना आएगा उस औरत को ये आदमी.
No, I
Okay,
love
I'm
Talwar. I like Razi quite a bit, but Sam Bahadur was like, go watch her earlier movies and see if they were any good. Like that
He's doing
bad.
one more
Like
Can we transition
Anyways,
from
we'll
this
shift.
movie? Can we transition from this movie to a movie by another filmmaker who should watch his earlier stuff to see how he did good stuff? We are
what is
talking about
that
Mani
movie?
Ratnam's
That's so
Life.
rude. Oh, what? I
Wes
switched to
Anderson. Phoenician Scheme. Which I like.
I
Thug
also
Life
like
or Phoenician Scheme. What
Phoenician
to
Scheme.
discuss?
Phoenician Scheme पे चलते हैं.
Quickly, of course.
Yeah,
not,
Dhruv,
not
you
very.
should have watched this movie before coming here, man. And like you've
I've
literally
watched.
championed for him more so than anyone
I
in the last
watched
few years.
20 minutes of it. I'll get back to it. fully.
No, I didn't know it was a like what
No, no,
Amartya told us on the group about it was like nice adaptation of Mr. Arkadin and all that. I had no clue about
Yeah,
it.
I don't think
But-
I won't call it an adaptation straight up, but I think it's like
Telling the same story.
kinda. See, here's the thing. Like वेस एंडरसन का नया ट्रिलॉजी अब है, ठीक है. एक है फ्रेंच डिस्पैच व्हिच आई डोंट
This
लाइक,
is what I wanted to bring it up as well.
एक है फ्रेंच डिस्पैच व्हिच आई डोंट लाइक, एक है एस्टेरॉइड सिटी व्हिच आई लव, and
I
this is
love
squarely
Asteroid City.
this is squarely in the middle. But all of these three movies have one thing which I absolutely admire, कि he is becoming more and more stringent in his form, but वो form को utilize करके he is talking about looseness in storytelling, which is very interesting, which is very very interesting. He did that especially in Asteroid City. इधर भी थोड़ा बहुत है, but in this case the movie
This
is very
feel
very
from the opening it felt very like almost not concerned with like the rigor in the same way as Asteroid City is entirely about form for me. It's not
and
even about
Asteroid
it's
City is
barely
completely about
it's
completely
barely about
form.
narrative. And I think French Dispatch is form overload. In this
Which is why I
That's
did not
like
like.
this yeah
Wes Anderson,
this
Wes Anderson
this
in
looks
types.
very much like a like someone said it's like Wes Anderson on drugs or steroids.
No,
That's
I
French
don't.
Dispatch.
No.
See, I
I
don't
don't
think
agree
that's
with
the
that.
case. I
No,
don't
French
think that's the
Dispatch,
case.
not this.
French Dispatch is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this one I felt more like, and I think I also kind of get why Sanjeev likes it. This also felt like Wes Anderson's homage to Bond villains, basically, because
Oh.
Correct.
Benicio del Toro is fully like a Roger Moore era ka Bond villain.
Yeah, it's very goofy in that sense. Full goofy.
Yeah, it's
like,
very full
falling
goofy.
from somewhere, getting somewhere, entering somewhere, and then like
Yeah.
action
I-
sequence is also like that.
I- Even in the opening-
Cumberbatch is more like that.
Okay. In the
Yeah,
opening
I
20
love
minutes,
Benedict
there
Cumberbatch.
were about 3 visual gags that made me laugh out loud. So, I was just like, like I love this sort of humor which he brings to it, like because he uses the tools of filmmaking to do this. Like in the beginning, someone gets blown up, and the way the effect happens, it's both shocking and it's like hilarious because you see like
Amazing.
almost a
That is
puppet gets
amazing.
thrown
I
out.
thought it'll happen more so in the movie, but it didn't.
Of course,
Okay.
Dhruv likes
So
people
that's
dying in movies.
It's like paper mache.
It's
like paper
funny when
mache
you do it
explosion.
well. See Final Destination 3.
I'm now going to cut it, and
great
it's just
description.
it's funny तक रखूंगा मैं और डाल दूंगा इंटरनेट पे.
Yes.
It is funny. Of course, it's funny. That's one of the appeals of horror films, Varun. Don't be a whatever.
Chill.
Sorry.
It's a PG podcast.
Yes,
Just
it's a
remember,
PG.
bro.
Amartya has taken care of that.
Yes,
Amartya has
Yeah, I
taken care of that already.
Anyways, you
No.
guys were saying I'm excited about
Phoenician
Phoenician.
Scheme. Phoenician Scheme. What I really liked is there is a thing ki Wes Anderson is always exploring the father son or father progeny dynamic
Daughter.
always. Here it's the daughter. Okay,
Yeah.
Trust
What I-
Amartya
what
to
I-
not say father child, but say father progeny.
yeah. Thank you. Anyway, my point being ki, one of the reasons why
Arvind
I
is
compared
right,
it
by
the
the
most
way. Sorry about the lead played by Brad Pitt's doppelganger.
I do think I compared it the most with Orson Welles' Mr. Arcadine because Arcadine ka story is also essentially about a millionaire tycoon who is also like involved heavily in espionage and who gets involved in a neo-noir scheme and all that.
Sure.
But Arcadine wasn't the how do I put this? He wasn't the protagonist per se. He was the cause, and
Okay.
and there also was a father-daughter relationship dynamic within Mr. Arcadine.
Okay.
It's also a movie which has seven literal seven
This
director's
is Orson
cuts.
Welles for anyone.
This is
who's
Orson Welles because of course he has
yeah.
7 director's cuts. Kya hi bol sakte.
You're the Coppola fan.
Anyway, but
Yeah.
again, what I really liked about this is ki if you see Mr. Arcadine, you will see that it's like the camera is always moving like forward and backward like a pendulum, okay, and it's always like
Oh.
elevating Wells upwards, like it's trying to show him larger than life and everything else. You contrast that with Wes's complete stringent to diorama form, and the difference is anyway striking. It's like Arcadine is
The
all
opening
about
credits
chaos.
play over like this overhead shot,
Yeah.
right?
Overhead shot. It's like a box which you're like looking down.
Yeah.
Arcadine is all about the chaos, right? Arcadine is all about chaos, and Wells is not hiding the fact that he's exploring chaos. Your Wes is also showing chaos, but he's showing chaos through his diorama infused order.
Like very yeah. The order chaos thing has been a big thing, right? Since
That's been a big thing.
It's you can hark it back to Grand Budapest Hotel, and that's it.
And Budapest Hotel,
that's I still think that's like the synthesis of everything, and then it's like
No, it's-
he's moved somewhere and then somewhere else.
It's
apex.
incomparable, but still, it's like you can like find similarities.
No, like
in the sense.
to me, it's like there's this West before Grand Budapest, which is because I rewatched Royal Tenenbaums, which I always thought I didn't like. When I watched it, I was like, I'm stupid for saying that I didn't like it because it was great. But it also made me reminded me that his films were much less fussy about foregrounding form. So Royal Tenenbaums really wears its heart on its sleeve. Like it's really very melancholic, and it puts it.
Moonrise Kingdom.
Sorry.
So does Moonrise Kingdom.
So does Moonrise Kingdom. So Moonrise Kingdom is one film before Grand Budapest.
2012, I think.
The West movie, this movie reminds me the most of is The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. This movie
That's
reminds
supposed to
me.
be one of his more divisive ones, right?
Yeah, I
From
think this
whatever I
movie
know.
reminds me
I
the
haven't
most
seen
of
it.
that. Yeah, but also,
But I feel
also-
like there's like what Arindra was saying. Moonrise Kingdom has that might actually be one of his most overtly emotional films in some ways. Like
Yeah.
the
this
comedy
movie,
is
this movie
very,
also is not.
under-
This movie is also very much open about what it's actually trying to explore. I think
Sure.
people are having a problem with the fact that it is too light and too obvious about its emotional content. But I don't agree.
I don't
with
know.
that.
I don't know whether that's
I'm
my
like
problem
whether
with
that's
it,
a problem.
the
Varun,
thing
you've
is,
also seen it, yeah.
I've watched it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I enjoy Wes Anderson's work. In all honesty, I'm very fond of Bottle Rocket, but then I like most filmmakers' first films, right? Like,
Sure.
it's always fun to see what they're like at the very start.
Yeah.
Fuel is such a rough film, but It's Spielberg at his earliest, and you can see where a lot of Jaws actually comes from. Is Dune. Um,
Will you
with
say
Phoenician
Following is a great film? Sorry, just to.
I enjoy
this
it.
is-
I think it's got
Okay.
Even I
nice.
enjoy it.
It's
I
very,
enjoy it. It's good only.
it's a very
It's good
nasty
enough.
sort of, if you walk the streets of the city right now, and if you
Oh
go
yeah,
into
you were
certain
there.
corners or whatever, you will
Yes.
feel that you can locate it within this geography. In that
Sure.
sense, I suppose you could make the same film for New York or for Chicago, but could you make
Yeah.
it for Kansas or could you make it for LA? Probably not. So it's
No,
very
you'll have a
specific
different film for
to-
that.
No, but that's
Paging
the thing.
Michael,
It's very
man.
specific almost to the geography of the city or the vibe
Yeah.
of the city.
But back to Wes
Yeah.
Anderson.
Back to Wes
With
Anderson.
In
Wes
which there
Anderson, I
is
think,
only his geography, no one
truly,
else's.
he
Yeah.
doesn't abide by rules. I think,
Yeah.
which is why French Dispatch was so odd to me when it came out, because I was like,
I'm
dude, why are
listening
you
to all this with a very
suddenly
straight face, but
confining
fine.
yourself to? Yeah, because see, I make no bones about the fact that I didn't like the French Dispatch.
No, a lot of people didn't
I
like it, and I totally
uh,
understand it. Yeah.
I have not watched Asteroid City, but I watched
You won't
one
like
of
it.
I think you should. I think you should.
I don't
though.
think you'll like it. But
I watched
anyways.
one of those shorts from Henry Sugar, which
Yeah,
was
that's
Yeah.
Poison.
arguably him going most
Poison.
experimental, I think.
Yeah, I watched Poison and I was like, I get the point you're trying to make about racism, but this is not the cast you want to be making it with in the roles that they're playing. And
Yeah.
I'd done
That's
a piece
the
on this.
weakest,
with you
I
guys,
think,
think,
actually. I think out
yeah,
Yeah,
of the-
Poison
it
is his
was the one
weakest.
that-
Yeah.
It was the one that confused people the most. So it used to show up on our SEO list every
Sure.
day. So then I was like, okay, I'll just write about Poison because nobody can fucking get it clear.
I'm surprised Dev Patel didn't star in this one because he's amazing in those
He would
shorts.
have been the Michael Cera character.
He had Riz Ahmed.
What do you mean? Do not. I saw 10 minutes of Michael Cera and I was
No,
like,
Michael
this is
Cera is
so
amazing.
amazing.
Even
Michael
Varun
Cera is
likes
fantastic
Michael Cera.
in
I
this.
like him a lot. But I'm looking at it from the way Wes does in the way of how he's going to use these characters.
Sure.
In these actors, really. What I didn't like about this was like, I feel like now he's too wedded to the form, and while I'm fine with that, I feel like you said, right? Grand Budapest is a great synthesis of him with a certain style and a certain narrative to tell. I'm fine with the story bereft of narrative. I think because cinema is a visual medium, it should be perfectly all right to make one, which is just, it can be gag after gag or image after image, whatever. I don't know. At some point, I just checked out a Phoenician. I enjoyed it, but I was like, it's not worth staying with for me. I'm just
Sure.
there's just it feels
I
like
think
he's cramming too much into the movie finally. Like all his films are super crowded, but
No, this film is extremely dense. I agree. This film is very
I'll
dense.
just add on to what Varun mentioned because I just quickly checked Wes Anderson's filmography to figure out how many movies I watched, and I realized I watched all of them till The Isle of Dogs, and then I watched
Okay.
Henry Sugar. Beach Ways, I
Yeah.
have not watched any of the others because
Yeah.
I mean, by the time I reached Isle of Dogs, I was like, this is becoming a little too saturated. Like now
Yep.
he's just only harping on developing something that is characteristic to like very Wes Anderson-esque cinema. So I think from the Isle of Dogs, I started becoming very disenchanted, and ever since then, I think again the font thing again came up when the Henry Sugar, all those shorts came out and stuff. But I think that was my biggest problem then as well, that it's constantly about the font, and no matter what the story is, even if the story is great, it is always getting overpowered because the form needs to be as is, which is why I think for me personally, Anderson hits a peak at the Budapest, the
I
Grand
think-
Budapest.
I think
that's a
Angela,
common-
I think Angela, you should watch Asteroid City because the point you're making about the form, right? I think he is commenting himself about that form
Yeah.
in Asteroid City. He's
Especially in
himself
Asteroid
commenting
City.
on it.
That's
Yeah,
very
he's
much a
himself
COVID
commenting on it.
movie for him.
It's a
so
very
I think
much
it's
a
very
COVID
much
movie.
about.
But more than
This-
COVID, also it is about like if you think of it in like meta modern context, like how we've spoken about, let's say Fincher's last film,
Yeah,
The
yeah,
Killer,
exactly.
like how, like the meta nature of like looking back at your own cinema. And
Amartya
generally-
got a seizure there, but yeah.
No, but he knows what I'm talking about. That's,
No, I
Yeah.
understood. I'm like, okay,
वो
that's a
कूद
bad
जाएगा,
example.
Oh,
अभी screen
I think
से कूदेगा
like
वो
like
reel में
like
आता है ना वो
we
जिससे बाहर
No, my point being,
like we talk about
three-
stars, right? Like how
Yeah.
we talk about stars and how stars can never actually entirely disappear into a movie because the
I have a remind
part
me of
of
that
they
at the
take
end. I
apart.
have a bar for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Based on like some
Ma-
news from today.
Well, my thing was that with Otto, especially as visually distinctive
Specific as Wes
as
Anderson.
Wes Anderson, I think it's after a point, at least for me, because I'm a big fan and I've not yet been disenchanted. I find value in uh, working through the form by looking at it also in context of how he's sort of shifting around with it. So I think Asteroid City to me is like the best example to put there, because he's
Yeah.
so that film feels like an anxious man's work who's trying to hang on to some
And it's also
semblance
the
of
fact,
control.
I think Phoenician is weak in terms of the main plot is banal as hell because
Yeah.
I don't think anybody cares. To be very
Sure.
honest, if you watch the movie, I don't think anybody cares about what is actually happening in the plot. Okay. Whi- which is why I like the fact that Anderson makes no bones about the fact that the main theme is the relationship between the father and the daughter. I like that. He makes it very obvious from the jump.
Yeah.
And it's like again, it's very simple screenwriting, but it's like the daughter who is essentially like, she's a nun, right? But
Yeah.
she is essentially, I think she's a nun on a trial basis. What is the term called? I'm asking.
No, it's like she's
Novitiate.
about to be christened as a
Novitiate,
nun, or I think something
right?
like that.
Yeah, she's a novitiate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. So she's a novitiate. She is ready to be a woman of the cloth and all that. But she is slowly getting tempted towards the life of her father, right? And on the opposite end, her father is also slowly melting just slightly and being open minded in accepting his daughter's perspective, and they meet a middle ground. It's very simple screenwriting, but again,
Yeah.
it works in this regard somewhat. So I was like, okay. And again, I'm not averse to Wes Anderson's form. His form is utilized rather
And
well.
I think Devulina mentioned this, which this came out right when this
Yeah, I
premiered
love that
at,
interview. I love that
yeah.
interview.
Very
Yeah.
recently.
He's a huge Satyajit Ray fan, so
Yeah. For me, I the thing for me is why this film works also in general is I'm looking at 3 films of his as a trilogy of sorts. Like,
Yes.
Dhruv knows how much I didn't like French Dispatch on the first watch, but
yeah.
it grew on me later on, and something similar happened with Asteroid City as well. So, first of all, the rewatchability in general for me is like a big plus, because I'm like, okay, you're making me watch and helping me discover more and more about what your film is trying to say. Because on the onset, it is something, but if you dig deep through like a hard shell of the form itself, you understand the emotionality of what he's trying to present. And it's fairly simple. It's not complicated in that sense. Although he's, playing with a lot of abstraction in both French Dispatch and Asteroid City.
So I
Asteroid
think
City more so than...
Chris says that, and I think a lot of people who didn't like Asteroid City sort of felt that
Yeah,
also. So,
they are saying that. Yeah.
I still remember how Asteroid City's reception was so polar. I remember when we discussed about it as well. And for me, I loved it more and more because I was also thinking of it with respect to how Wes is looking at himself as a filmmaker. Because that's also a filmmaker who I've followed for at least a decade now, like roughly. 14 was when Budapest came out, right? French Budapest. Sorry. Grand Budapest Hotel. So
I think
it's
there's
10 years of
line.
following of filmmakers. So I thought like when Asteroid City came in, it was more to do with not just COVID film. It was about because in the beginning I was like, why are they cutting to this play thing? I didn't understand it at all.
Sure.
But I found it fascinating. So for me, then it became about him questioning his there's a we can probably do a more breakdown episode at some point where
We've done.
I can actually
We have done.
like more. I know. I mean,
Aur chahiye.
I know, yeah. I mean, I can still talk more about it. That's what I'm trying to say. I like that movie so much.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there are characters who go to. There's a character of this guy, Jason Schwartzman, who goes and asks the writer, Edward Norton, about something about his character. Like, I don't understand what is happening.
I don't understand it. Yeah.
So I was like, that's essentially the soul of the film for me.
Yeah.
Him trying to figure out what everything is really about, and also the uncertainty which is playing off with the alien story, which is a COVID reference as well, and plus minus and X, Y.
I think
Phoenician
nuclear.
was again a
You only
chase
said
film.
no, Martya. Like it's the
It's Barbenheimer. It's Barbenheimer.
That is Barbenheimer. Like it's the
That is
aesthetic of
Barbenheimer.
Barbie with the
aesthetic,
nuclear.
Oppenheimer, atomic age fear.
Yeah.
Barbenheimer.
Yeah,
Truly,
there is this whole
truly.
thing of something happening, like some bomb,
Yeah.
like nuclear testing
Yeah.
happening somewhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's all that.
Paranoia.
Anyway, I
and
think
all
we've
that.
sold Astro City much more. I don't know how it'll play to people because I think it's not
No,
easy
I
to
Astro
think
get
City is
into. I
amazing.
think.
I
I
think
will never
Phoenician Scheme. I think
not.
Phoenician Scheme people can watch if they really like how they put this. If they really like those old spy movies, like Eurotrip
Sure.
spy movies,
Mm.
like
At
Danger,
best, making a
Diabolique,
film
and
like
all
that.
those.
So.
Yeah, like Danger,
Yeah, Diabolique is
Diabolique, and
a
all that. Yeah. All
interesting.
You
those
mean something
movies.
like you mean something like Charade?
Kinda.
Oh, I love Charade.
I really enjoy it.
I don't
think
know.
whatever
Not
Maybe
even
I'll see
Charade.
that.
It's like remember you have seen the Harry Palmer movies, right, Varun?
Yeah, some of them.
Have you seen
I
the
have.
third one?
Probably not. No.
Yeah, it's
I
like
would-
more of the third one.
Okay.
It's like more. It's a more of the third one. Anyway,
So are we done with Mr. West for
Phoenician.
the moment?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can
So
Good film, watch it.
I don't have any image for the last, but you can just do dumping session and finish it off. Whatever.
Amartya and Varun want to dump.
No,
Thug
there's
life.
no.
Why will
Oh, yeah.
I have nothing.
क्या डम
मैंने
करूं?
तो देखा ही नहीं है.
एक सेकंड क्या डम करूं?
I'm now.
Thug
the
Life.
thing is- the
No,
thing is-
that
no,
is
I
my
am
reaction.
saying.
क्या डम
रुको-
करूं?
रुको ना,
दो
बोलने
बुड्ढे
दो।
जिसको वर्ल्ड के बारे में कुछ पता नहीं, वो are utterly disconnected from everything else.
I'm
They are
out of
making
this.
a gangster movie. They are making a gangster movie. Script में literally.
Oh, I
कुछ
thought you were
नहीं है.
talking about you too. Sorry.
No, he's talking about money. Podcast
You
बंद
said
होने
दो
वाला है।
बुड्ढे बात कर रहे हैं. I was like, you were like, oh, what do I have to say? Like in the sense कि हम लोग के पास क्या होगा
Okay,
बोलने
okay,
के लिए,
let's
not-
do something to
Hasan and-
organize the
yeah.
chaos a little bit. I think otherwise the
No
dumping
chaos
session
on my
is going to
end.
be everybody talking over the other person.
Yeah.
Let me ask you very quick questions and then you answer. And then
Yeah.
I think we'll have like solid answers. Okay,
Yeah.
cool?
Okay.
Okay.
Have you not
This is
watched
what I
it?
do in my daily job also. So fun time.
Ask.
मुझे नहीं चाहिए था ये
Okay.
सब Angela, but okay.
Nay, we'll do this to make this organized.
Thank you,
Okay.
Angela.
Let's go. But okay, name one movie. I think, and all of you can go. Name one movie that you think was most hyped about, but it didn't make sense to you at all out of the ones that you watched in both May and June, and why. And all of you can go one by one.
Martha,
Arun,
you
you can start.
You want me-
Okay.
Thug Life easily because I was
Thug Life,
really-
yeah.
I was really looking forward.
That
to
I
it.
think
was
I
hyped.
think that's
अच्छा,
for
okay.
everybody. I think that's
I mean, I've
that's for
not seen it,
everybody
but
at this
okay.
point. Yeah.
I'll say something else.
बोलो
So,
बोलो. हाँ बोलो
variety.
बोलो.
Just for variety.
पहले आप थग
I
लाइफ
didn't
पे थोड़ा
like-
एक्सपैंड तो करो क्यों थी.
अरे
हाँ, okay.
अरे
बोलने
अजीब है.
तो बोलने
Yeah.
दो।
That was only
So-
that was only 1 mark of the question. The rest
Yeah,
5
no,
marks remain.
I
Yes,
think-
go ahead.
I think to me it was Kamal Hassan and Mani Ratnam coming together. There should be at least good drama. I'm not expecting action out of a movie like this. I know Kamal Hassan's also like getting on in age and stuff like that. It's difficult to maneuver your body in a certain way.
वाह
I can
वाह.
appreciate
Ageism फिर से. वाह वाह.
How is this ageism? I literally said it's difficult to maneuver your body in certain ways. I'm
You
not
watch
expect-
Vikram. फिर बताना. Anyway,
I mean-
continue.
Yeah. So it was just tedious. I thought it was badly written. I thought it went nowhere. It starts with this actually a very Hayram-esque prologue, which is in the sense of how it's shot.
Interesting.
It feels very much like Hayram in the black and white stuff.
The opening I actually loved.
The
I
opening
was like,
is
bro,
good.
I'm in
The
for a
opening is
fucking
good.
treat. Sorry for
Yeah,
that.
initially I thought it's going somewhere, but then like the kid gets the father
मैं
gets
जब
shot.
पॉडकास्ट में हूँ कौन सॉरी कह रहा है for using that word, but anyway.
अब नहीं, now Varun is understanding what it means to be talked over and get cut off every 2 seconds. No, go
Yes.
ahead.
I'm waiting for Amartya to finish. मैं बुड्ढों की इज्जत करता हूँ. That's my.
हाँ. कमल हसन की तो इज्जत नहीं करते इसलिए तो हम डम कर रहे हैं.
आपने
बोलो
अभी बोला
she was
दो
trying.
मैंने नहीं
Indra
बोला.
has tried very nicely to organize it, keep it
No,
organized.
Chris, it's not an insult to Hayram. I'm saying the visual sort of approach is similar to that.
Okay.
Even though the actual narrative
But
part in which
I saw that Mani Ratnam actually apologized. Like in
No,
the,
he
in-
didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't. His
No, he
clarification was people thought we are giving them another kind of Nayagan.
Expectation.
They want. He was lumping it on the audience. That's not
सर
what
मेरा
okay.
सर मेरा एक प्रॉब्लम है विद दैट एंटायर स्टेटमेंट. ठीक है, मेरा प्रॉब्लम है कि मुझे एक्सपेक्टेशन नायकन नहीं चाहिए. मुझे एक्सपेक्टेशन एक गैंगस्टर मूवी चाहिए जिसमें ड्रामा हो. मुझे रियलिटी ये नहीं चाहिए कि गैंगस्टर मूवी में जिसमें कुछ भी नहीं हो.
I think
लिटरली नथिंग, बिगिनिंग टू
fundamentally
एंड कुछ नहीं है.
it's a very timid film.
Let it out.
It's not.
Let it
It's
out.
not brave enough to go for the jugular when it can.
Sure.
It
Kamal
should
Hassan.
be more like a farting
उन लोगों को
session.
jugular कहाँ है पता है in this movie.
अरे
I
sir,
doubt.
आप रुक जाओ.
आप दोनों की सेम है, क्यों रुकेगा भाई? दोनों सेम ही
अरे
चीज तो बोल रहे हो
because
दोनों
I have points to make. Amartya is just going to abuse Kamal Hassan and Mani Ratnam.
की. Okay, fine. Make your points.
Threaten to make love to Kamal Hassan, maybe, I don't know. So anyway,
नहीं सर मैं त्रिशा कृष्ण नहीं हूँ in this movie, so don't worry.
that was like my fundamental problem, that these actors they want to hold on to a certain level of.
Adityan is asking which was the only. This is coming. This is Adityan is not someone
He's a
who
big
easily
fan of
dislikes
dislikes.
stuff.
Yeah, but
So,
and he was very charitable in the Mass Cinema episode to a lot of the shit.
yeah, I know. It was exactly like, I mean, I know that he had messaged me saying that it did, like, I think it was it personally hurt a lot of people how bad Thug Life was. For them.
Because it is Mani Ratnam trying to operate, instead of trying to operate in the masala mode, which he can actually succeed in because he's made those movies in some way.
Yeah.
He's trying to operate in the mass mode, and he's never been a I will make you look like the biggest hero of in your career ever. He's never been that kind of filmmaker, right?
No,
he's doing this here.
Yeah, he is very much doing this here, and it's when my takeaway from the film is Sanya Malhotra's 20-second cameo, I think there's a problem.
She's not even 20 seconds, by the way, but yeah.
She's not even 20 seconds.
Why is she doing all this? Can I know? Why is that? Why she become like this?
Visibility. If somebody said to you that Sadi Pen Mani Ratnam will direct you will also.
I mean, sure, of course.
No way, bro. No way.
Of course.
No. For me, there's one simple point which I'll talk about Mani Ratnam is I think he should start making longer form, start telling longer form stories rather than like telling compressed stories in like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Because it clearly doesn't work.
I wanted hold on.
He still doesn't use steady cams.
I wanted to discuss this with Sanjeet also. I think he's taking the audience for granted, especially with the knowledge of templates, because he's like, हाँ audience को तो ये portion पता है, इसमें ज़्यादा focus नहीं करेंगे. We will just show cursorily क्या हो रहा है, then we will move on. It's like the entire movie is basically एक plot point से दूसरे plot point पे जा रहा है, लेकिन कोई description नहीं है. Plot point हो गया, we move on. Plot point हो गया, we move on. Plot point हो गया, we move on. And I'm like, कर क्या रहे हो? कुछ तो दिखाओ. कुछ तो दिखाओ.
But that is how most of Mani Ratnam's movie stories are. Like if you watch it, that's also how it is.
That's like throwing like a dagger to I think
one second. One second. I actually agree with her. ठीक है. My problem here is Mani Ratnam also utilized songs very well as a method to progress the narrative. यहाँ पर तो songs को भी cut कर दिया.
No, but that technique has been applying since Chekka Chivanda.
CCKV, yeah, CCKV, yeah, basically,
If you think about it, even Katra Velede, aside from when he's using songs, the way he's cutting them is also slightly. He's going in a very different direction, even in
erratic.
Dilse is very oddly cut, and that's what's mesmerizing about the songs.
And also the fact that many people are saying that Mani Ratnam is essentially doing that. I would like to point out that there is also a movie called Thalapathy, okay, which is essentially basically his version of the Mahabharata. A movie which I don't like for a different reason. But there, at least when he's exploring the plot point and he's moving on, he's actually utilizing the songs. Too many songs in that movie, but he's utilizing the songs to actually progress the emotional arc.
Sure.
And he becomes better at it in something like Irol, which is a perfect film.
In Iruvar, he's better at it.
So
he's amazing at it. I think that's the most perfect movie you'll watch, honestly.
Which is fascinating because
this is also Sanjeet's PR campaigin for wanting to work with Mani Ratnam.
No. I also think I also think with respect to Iruvar, why it is even more fascinating because Iruvar ka structure is essentially vignette-like storytelling. Every essence is vignette-like storytelling, but it is connected through music and through events. So when you're putting plot point to plot point, you need something, right, to drive it forward. Thug Life में वो भी नहीं है.
See,
That is my
I
whole point.
Basic about Thug Life that really bothered me is that Mani Ratnam's not a filmmaker you associate with shallowness in terms of how he makes his movies. It
Yeah.
felt
Yeah.
like it felt like a cop out in that sense. I was like, dude, why
No,
is it
that's
set in Delhi?
that's
Tell
I
me
think
that.
the
Why
part which
is a
bothers
Marathi
everyone is
gangster
like,
called Sadanand and two Tamil gangsters called Rangaraya Shaktivel and his brother, whatever.
no,
Nasir.
the basic thing what Varun is saying is where is the craft, which is the least
Yeah,
thing that you
I'm
would
not even
expect from a film like this, which is
Yeah.
I understand.
that and so much of it looks so sloppy. Like there's a
Also I
chase
have
sequence in
a
front
bone.
of- एक second.
Bolo, bolo, bolo.
Chase sequence in front of Lal Killa. I'm like, why does it look like you sent the second unit to shoot stills of the Lal Killa and just shot this on
But
like
he actually did. He sent
He actually
Shah
did
Ali and
that.
Bijoy Nambiar to do that.
Yes, he
Saad
actually
Ali
did
is
that.
here also. He's roaming around.
No,
Yeah,
Bijoy
he's-
Nambiar.
Make this.
He's his
Here is
associate.
Bijoy Nambiar.
He's his
Here is
associate.
Bijoy
Bijoy
Nambiar.
Nambiar always assists Mani Ratnam on a film. And
No,
Shiva
I do
Nambiar.
think
असिस्ट भी करते हैं, कॉपी भी वही
Associate.
पिक्चर करके हिंदी में बनाते हैं.
associate.
Bijoy Nambiar
I mean,
नहीं बनाता है.
wait a
Shahid Ali
second.
को
Like
वो-
they, I just want to know this. They associate. Like I don't know about Bijoy Nambiar, right? Shahid Ali assists him on each film and then manages to translate it into another language and mess up this badly.
See, I
How?
think
Only
I
two
mean-
times.
he's only done
I
it
mean,
twice. He's also very
Okay, Janu is atrocious.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
was 15 years after Satya. 15 years ago.
Satya, I don't know, but it's
I mean,
so
he had
weird to me
Bhatti or Bhagwan,
anyways.
which was good.
But your Buggy is fun. But Jaideep Sahni's
Again, it's
writing is
also
something
very-
completely different.
No,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
also
that
like I
is-
have a bone to pick. I have a bone to pick with Kamal Hassan also.
Okay.
Why are you so
Nahi
intent?
yaar.
Why are you so intent? Ek second. Why are you so intent
On
on
number
destroying your own
60
legacy?
seconds.
Why are you so intent on destroying your own legacy? You named your character Shaktivel. Really? थेवर मगन का कैरेक्टर भी डुबा दो, कुछ नहीं बचा.
अरे उसने सोचा नहीं होगा कि डुबा रहा है ना, उसको लगा होगा कि
No,
Somebody
I think
please tell Kamal Hassan to stop his narcissistic trip. He has forgotten how to write at this point.
we are not living in a time where people are stopping to do the narcissistic trip thing. That's the other point I was going to make
I
when
think
we were talking about F1.
Navrasa was just COVID scheme, yeah, to just help people work. So I don't think so. They cared
Yeah,
about the
and
quality.
Navarasa ka Mani Ratnam ka entry wasn't abysmal, but it wasn't good.
I think
He didn't make one
We
for
move-
Navarasa.
He made one.
Move on.
No,
move
he
on.
did. I can
Sanjeet,
No,
guarantee
he was
you
too
that.
creative. No. I think Bijoy Nambiar made it. Yeah. He didn't make it. Yeah.
Yeah. He
Sanjeet,
produced
what
it,
did
but
you
Okay, I
love?
think
What did you
we've
not
done-
like? Yes.
What I
Yeah,
not
we've
like
done
was
two people.
Tudaru.
Sorry.
Huh?
Tudaru.
Oh, yeah.
Tudaru.
Oh, you did not
enjoy
like?
it all.
I
No,
liked it
unfortunately.
fine.
I think Chris
No, I
didn't like
thought-
it, if I'm not wrong.
I know. I remember Chris's review and like how he blasted on at least on the group.
Oh,
I
that's because he
think-
loves Mohan Lal, right?
Mohanlal.
Loves
But
Mohanlal
I-
a lot. Yes.
What were you
The
about
thing
to
is,
say?
it's
Can you
so-
talk after Mohan for a second?
Because I was thinking if I mentioned the wrong name.
Mohan Muti.
Yes,
Or Madan
I
Mohan.
was-
Or Madan Mohan.
I was like, I should not mention Mammootty because we praised him so much in all of our episodes.
No, he's
I also-
amazing. In,
No, I think Thudarum mein it has the same issue with content against stardom, right? Because the content had the potential to be grittier. Ek second.
no, for me, I have a problem in general with how it's written only. I'm like, I don't believe
Yeah.
what you're doing.
I
mean, whatever you
understand.
can
I
do,
understand.
that's it,
I
I'm done.
understand. But यहाँ पे एक इशू है कि मोहनलाल is the quote unquote common man. Common man इतना मतलब mass entry हो रहा है, सब कुछ हो रहा है. I'm like क्यों कर रहा है? That is my
But
literal
वो
reaction
तो,
in
but
the
वो
thing.
तो even that's even there in something like
it
Karnan
stands out.
with
No, it
Dhanush.
stands out. No, it's भाई कहाँ जा रहा है?
Dhanush.
I think it stands out here because it's a Malayalam movie. Malayalam movie का pacing completely अलग है. ठीक है? It's
Sure.
like it is focusing, it is building up so much of the world. I do believe that the build up took too much time.
We know this, Chris. We know. this.
Yeah.
I
Mohanlal
think
is
best
the
not to
build-up
mention it.
Yeah.
You'll be safer.
Yeah,
This
you
is
be
so
safe.
respectful. Mohanlal sir. Thank you.
Mohanlal sir. So respectful, भाई.
अब नहीं चलेगा ये सब जो यहाँ पे सुनने आया है या देखने आया है they've probably listened to a couple of the
हमने
stuff that
आपकी
you
literal और otherwise शक्ल देख ली.
Kamal and Mani Ratnam both became boom.
Kamal
At
sir,
this
Mani
point,
Ratnam sir. That's how we speak here.
at this point,
Okay, Sanjeet sir. How about you go and ask Ravichandran sir for some work?
I might as well, bro. I might as well.
Okay, but moving on to Dhruv, what is the movie that you did not like and why?
Did you watch it?
I barely watch stuff, so to be very
Ah,
honest, I
thank
mean,
God,
and-
that
and-
was a better
I mean,
question.
we've talked about we've talked about Top Gun. I'll mention this not as I didn't like it, but considerable drop off in loving to being pretty impressed is Magnolia by Paul Thomas Anderson, which I thought I loved, but when I
We have to
rewatched it,
do.
I thought it was not his best work. Let's be.
We should
like, you know,
discuss more about it.
Yes,
we will because we are planning like a PTA thing. But yeah, that was my.
Okay. Next question would be one movie that you guys loved, but you absolutely did not expect that you would end up liking that movie when you went in.
Okay, I already have one set.
Bolo.
Bolo,
Yes.
bolo,
Sister
bolo,
Midnight.
bolo.
Sister Midnight, which I
Oh,
absolutely
Ah
love.
yes,
I haven't
Sister
finished
Midnight,
it
which
yet.
only you seem to love,
I'm
and
yet to
Aryan
watch it.
I've
hated.
not
I
watched
think.
it. So
I haven't finished it yet.
No, I just thought
finish
like
it,
how
Matlab?
it's like it's a little slow paced that sense if you want to look at it. It's like
Okay.
the humor is like the dry humor in that sense. So it's like I know if people don't like it, I'm like, fair. But I was in a very like I had like literally 8 people on the screen. And most of them were responding to all the like things that were happening. So it's like mostly reactionary. Like you react to whatever the character does in a sense. So like either you respond to it well and you're like, okay, this is so stupid or like whatever ridiculous, or so surreal that you're like always. There are moments in this which reminded me of Anwar Kajab Kissa, which I know Dhruv has watched. Yeah, like few moments because it's
I
like
know Dhruv has watched. I know we have recorded an episode.
the unreleased episode list.
Unreleased
Another
episode,
thing.
yes.
for unreleased
it's-
episodes,
it's-
please send us 5,000 US pounds. US dollars. Sorry.
No, we'll do a Patreon
next
thing and then we
Dhruv.
can release the episode. But yeah, anyway, continue.
For me,
Yes, Dhruv,
I guess I
unrelated
didn't
to-
expect to love David Cronenberg's The Shrouds, even though I really like the filmmaker. That movie was very divisive. It's very weird. I did not expect it to be emotionally as moving as it was. Like it felt really like very few, not very few, but few filmmakers are this open in expressing what they want to, and this is like him like expressing his feelings both sort of sentimental but also very messed up and voyeuristic in terms of after basically his wife passed away, and the whole film revolves around him coming to terms with that, but doing so in a way which is not very typical at all. If you've seen David Cronenberg, you know body horror is a central sort of thing to it, and that's there, but it's also a very it's an odd mix of body horror and like conspiratorial like drama. Like it sort of, and it shouldn't work, but it kind of does. Like it's a very odd movie, but like I was strangely very moved by it. But you will have to get attuned to the David Cronenberg way of dialogue and the way people speak in that, because it's not natural at all. So
Is
you
it
know,
the crimes
not
of
like
the
Dakota
future type
Johnson or
dialogue?
Materialist.
it's more than that, because it's Vincent Cassel speaking English, which automatically
boy.
adds another layer of sort of
Lovely.
to
Oh
so
boy.
it's unnatural, which I think is a breaking point for a lot of people. It's got a very mixed reception, but I was I think it's probably, I've not watched much, but probably one of my, if not my favorite movie of this year, released this year.
Okay.
I've not watched much, and a lot of the big stuff I've watched, I've been a little I've not loved. Like Sinners, also I expected to love, but was not blown away by. Like I think a lot of people.
I think this is a controversial opinion, but Sinners is my IMAX experience of the year, over and
okay.
above both Mission
It's not
Impossible and this
controversial.
one.
I don't think it
people,
is controversial.
I think people are like, you have to appreciate action in IMAX more than drama, and I'm like,
Mission
the drama of Sinners is
Impossible.
so enhanced.
Of course, it's better than Mission Impossible.
I mean, better than, but these
Let's
are
not go there,
films
please.
that are showing off stuff, right? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
not
but
what
not-
the
next
IMAX
person.
format is.
Okay,
Yeah.
Amartya.
Amartya.
I
Movie that you loved.
I think I have two. One is Veeradhira Suran, the Tamil
Oh,
movie.
lovely film.
Lovely film. Did not expect to love it. I think I wasn't expecting much because of the gimmick. The gimmick is basically they are releasing the second part in an effort with the caveat that they will release the first part later. It is essentially them telling, "Ki we are not putting any exposition or any build up. We are just throwing you en masse into the movie, and
Yeah.
you figure it out." I think the movie is directed, edited, and spectacularly told, and I think Chian Vikram is extraordinary in the movie. I did not
He's
expect
amazing in the movie.
He's amazing in
He's
this
so
movie.
good. So good.
I think the movie has just one fatal flaw, and that is in the second half ka beginning mein. Then it suddenly changes again. वो
Okay.
एक flashback sequence आता है जो
I
conceit
know
को
what
break
you're
कर
talking
देता
about.
है. Yeah,
I
exactly.
know what you're
That's
talking
it.
about. Yeah.
That's it. और कुछ flaw नहीं है उस movie में. The
What about you,
second is
Anjali?
a
I was about to
I
say,
had
Indra, you have to
I
answer
had
both
two.
these questions.
I had
Huh.
two.
Amarnath,
Another
Same,
one is a
Anand.
Bengali movie. Another one is a Bengali movie which I did not expect to love, and that is Poromroto's Eirat Tomar Amar. I genuinely did not. I genuinely did not expect to love that movie. It's essentially about
Spell it
two.
out, no? Tell it at least in the comment section so that we know what you're talking
Okay.
about. I didn't understand
So
what you said. Like,
Ei Raat Tomar Amar. Basically, it
Closed
means this
room
night
drama.
belongs to
Ei
both of them.
Raat. Okay, I heard
Well,
Eira. I was like,
just
what does
आप
Eira mean?
कानपुर में हो, just go slightly north to Delhi, वहाँ पे आपको बंगाली अच्छे से सीखने को मिल जाएगी.
हाँ, मैं कानपुर में नहीं हूँ.
No,
That's the thing.
it's a closed room drama.
It's a closed
Okay.
room drama
Okay.
between two septuagenarians. I think one is a septuagenarian, one is an octogenarian. But anyway, so husband wife who are essentially ruminating about their life, their past, and the wife
Is
is
it like
dying.
March's
Wife
Kid?
is on her deathbed. Basically, wife is on her
Oh.
deathbed. She's suffering from cancer, and I don't know. Maybe again, Porombroto is one such filmmaker who really needs to stick with drama and closed room drama. He really needs to get off his horror stick right now because he doesn't know how to make horror. He's better at this closed room drama stuff, and he is excellent. But more than that, it's Anjan Datta and Aparna Sen who are excellent in this movie.
Oh,
It's
Aparna Sen.
yeah, it's fabulous, this movie, and how like layered and how layered he makes the emotion. And for a movie which could easily be marketed as pretentious or quote unquote apel, this film is the least pretentious I felt. I don't think there is
That's true.
almost any pretension in this movie. I think it is very emotionally honest, which I wasn't expecting at all. So I think that movie surprised me a lot. Yeah, that's it.
I think
Andrila?
just a personal comment. I think that movie comes off as a little trying hard in some
Maybe.
aspects,
Maybe.
which is what I did not quite sit. Like, which is what did not sit right with me. Anyway, it was a little anxiety-inducing. I think as a child who lives outside and away from parents, so that
You
movie
you
was.
know very well. You know very well why I genuinely
No,
was
I'm
emotional.
aware. I'm aware, but it like in my head it was very emotional. Like
Yeah,
it
I
was
get
very
it. I get it.
inducing.
I think there is
So,
one
which is why
sequence
I
in the
think.
movie. I think there is one sequence in the movie which is very quote unquote trying hard, trying to be too much. There is one sequence in
No,
that.
a lot of
Yeah.
things, like the whole thing about the
Yeah.
mouse as well. So there are
Other than
portions where
mouse thing
you
only.
can
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
like
that
a
mouse.
yeah they can constantly hear like a mouse across the
Mouse.
house. Like,
Yeah.
constantly trying to
That is
sort of.
that is
I
try hard.
think
Even I
there is
admit. Yeah,
yeah that is like it has a larger connotation, of course, in the context of the
yeah.
movie, and you eventually get to realize it. But if you watch too many narratives of this sort and you've read too many Bengali authors who write the realist strain of writing, you just go, bro, like
it,
chill.
it, it feels
What
it
happened?
feels very much like too obvious, especially for people who are like aware of this. It's very obvious, but
Yeah.
again I was surprised
Incredible,
that
yeah.
even with that flaw I love the movie so much. So
Sure.
it's like
Mm.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Indra, your choices. Then
Okay,
I think we
Varun.
can end before Varun has
I think
something to
Varun
say
hasn't
about.
spoken.
Varun to spoke na abhi.
No, I've not yet spoken about this movie.
You did speak.
Continue.
Which movie?
आप
No, he
बोलो
hasn't.
इतना ही
You
बोल
said
रहे हो
na
आप
Sinners
फिर
is
से
your
बोलो.
favorite thing in IMAX.
No,
you
no,
said?
no. I was just making a quick because
He
you
was just making a throwaway
Oh.
comment. बोलो बोलो
Yeah,
बोलो.
Okay, fine. Sorry, say. Yeah.
no, Andrela, go ahead, please.
No,
कौन बोलेगा?
say, sir. Finish it.
I'm
Then,
waiting
then
for-
Indra.
I'm waiting for Andrela. Okay, you want me to go then?
हाँ बोलो बोलो.
There's
No,
a
I think
small.
close it.
I watched a bunch of like very very good stuff. I watched Steve McQueen's Shame.
This
I
is
watched
rare, yeah. Just saying to
William
everyone.
Friedkin's
Rare
Sorcerer.
instance of
Right.
Varun praising stuff. So, like,
Yeah, it was like
worth
3 consecutive
mentioning.
movies of me enjoying myself. The
that's
third was a
shocking.
very very small sort of buddy comedy / musical called The Ballad of Wallace Island by
Okay.
James Griffith. It's a film that stars Carey Mulligan. She's really the kind of supporting character. There's 2 men who are the more central characters, and it's basically about this former musical duo who are forced to reunite by this eccentric guy who lives on an island by himself. and wants them to come and perform. As it's very sweet. It's the kind of film they don't make anymore, where it's very small, very
Yeah, yeah.
modest budget. It's got lots of these little moments. It's very episodic, but it's also got a narrative, and it's just very enjoyable. You don't want more than that from. Essentially, any cinematic experience has to be enjoyable. If I'm exhausted after a movie and not rewarded for that exhaustion, then I'm furious. So, Thug Life, it's impossible. But when I
Somebody
watch
play
a-
Jingucha. Somebody play Jingucha in the
I do
background.
like that song.
Yeah,
But
that song is great.
90 minutes of a film in which they managed to compress, in which they managed to sort of bring together so much. It's well made. It's well written. The actors are in good form, and it's sort of about the awkwardness of life. About how sort of we are all eccentrics in our own way, and uh, just how we all find different ways of dealing with grief. There are different ways, paths to companionship. So it's very much speaking to things that appeal to me about cinema a lot.
Sure.
That it can be very introspective. It can be very much about like locating very specific emotions, and does not need to have like grander design. And yeah, I quite enjoyed it. Shame is something I do recommend as well. Sorcerer, I'm sure
Steve
most people
McQueen?
have watched who want to watch it.
Steve McQueen, shame. Yeah.
I think there's not a better indictment of the sort of consumerism that's been shoved down our throats as a society
Yep.
than that. And it tells you exactly how bad it can get when you get caught up, when you commit yourself to that kind of approach.
Best Michael Fassbender performance?
I've not watched him in Hunger. I'm told he's very good in that.
I think you can make a
He's very
case,
good.
but he's very good in Hunger. He's
I
I
think
very
think
good.
Shame is
very
still the
much.
best. Yeah.
I've also not watched him in Steve Jobs. I've not watched Steve Jobs.
He's very good in it, but I don't know if
Yeah.
it's.
I think rewatched Band of Brothers for the first time in like nearly a decade. I really sort of enjoyed that.
Is it due to you remembering that there was a show called Masters of the Air which wasn't good?
No, it was nothing like that. It was just me wanting to like have some. I've rewatched a bunch of stuff recently. Hot Fuzz, Knives Out, Band of Brothers. I'm going on Monday to watch Fablemans again. So it'll be my third time watching it. It's
Oh,
I think you might be the biggest fan of the Fablemans.
biggest fan.
apart
Yes,
from
Spielberg should.
Steven
Spielberg
Spielberg.
should.
I love that movie.
Offer to meet me just because I love that movie so much.
There is a
course.
Dune fan now who has seen the movie 400 times. I think Varun is going to be that Fableman's ka fan.
Bro. I mean, I
Literally.
really like that movie, but
But yeah,
I don't
I
like.
mean,
Yeah, I
love
really like
so.
it. I really like it.
And much as like I get a lot of flack for not liking The Exorcist and for not loving the French Connection.
Deserving
should-
flag, by the way.
I don't like The Exorcist. I stand by that. I've enjoyed the French Connection. I didn't love it, but वो भी आप लोगों के लिए काफी नहीं है. So I did quite
नहीं
enjoy
सर
it.
काफी नहीं है.
I quite enjoyed Sorcerer because it was just
Oh,
it
amazing.
was the how do you
Fantastic.
keep how
It's
do
a
you put
ride
on
through
that-
hell. Like, it's
Yeah,
exactly
basically.
that.
and it's
I have no clue how they made the movie.
such
No.
action of
I mean,
almost
it's
Spartan
madness only.
yeah
Yeah.
Until I enter. Okay, you are then Varun and Adityan.
yeah.
Take it.
Yes.
I
Also,
love
for-
that
Varun
one
is fine.
that one sequence. I think is one of my favorite sequences of recent times. Like the one where
Which
he
one?
finds out about the affair.
Ah,
The way it's
yes,
directed, I think, is just sublime. But anyway,
No, I thought there were like a lot of multiple. I mean, there's like a lot to talk about.
it's a great film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we
Anyway.
have it in us to discuss the Ramayana teaser?
no. First, let Ahindra.
yeah,
Ahendrila, जिसने question पूछा है उसको
हाँ,
can we
वही
can we
sorry, I'm
throw
so
it
sorry.
back at her? Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've watched some stuff because I haven't had like a lot of time on my hands to watch movies. But I think two were like a real shocker for me, and then two other movies I watched, which I went into them knowing that they were good movies, but I was also genuinely so impressed by them. One is Burn After Reading by the Coen brothers, and I figured that I've only ever watched like
No,
just
that's
one
because
movie by
I
the
love
Coen
it,
brothers.
and it's a little underrated, I think, in the Coens.
Yeah.
So I
or
ended
whatever
up
it is.
watching Burn
should be
After
good.
Reading, and
So
I had
it is
like
so
the
stupid.
most-
It is so funny.
Yeah.
I
It's
loved it. I was looking for
So
exactly
stupid.
like I think I was looking for exactly that movie when I started watching,
Yeah.
when I started surfing through Prime for it. And Prime
Yeah.
has this little trinkets, like you suddenly find something. So I ended up
Hmm.
watching Burn After Reading one of these days, and it
Hmm.
was so good,
Yeah.
like beats anything. And
Yeah.
then I also watched this nice little movie, not so little, but nice movie called The Eye in the Sky, which
Oh
was
yeah, it's really good.
Helen
Gavin
Helen.
Alan
Hood, right?
Rickman.
Gavin
yeah,
Hood.
Hood,
yeah.
yeah.
Gavin Hood.
So,
Gavin Hood.
and it was so interesting. It's a
Yeah.
concept like no other, and the way they were teasing the tension from the beginning to
Yeah.
the end, while also kind of giving you a look into the fact that everybody just wants to transfer responsibility from one person to other, even at like prime minister presidential level. So they're just shifting around responsibility like
Yeah.
it's a bureaucrat's office. So it was hilarious. I mean, and that was the humor that you were deriving out of a movie where they're actually trying to
Yeah.
they're thinking about
I
where
think
to
it's
bomb.
even from
Um,
whatever I remember, like it knows also when to switch gears into serious. Like it does
yeah,
because the
yeah,
stuff with Parkha Abdi, who's the person who's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in and around that area, and then Aaron Paul is in it. He's also one of the people who's looking like a
yeah,
Breaking
yeah.
Bad guy. And then Helen Mirren, and they are in like the
And
top
Alan
office, right?
Rickman are
Alan
in the
Rickman and
Helen
stuff.
Mirren
Yeah.
is
supporting
Yeah.
cast.
Helen Mirren is basically like kind of like the
A
protagonist.
lot about modern warfare and how that
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of
Hmm.
the
Yes.
But
accountability sort of
these two
flies
movies,
out, right?
but these two, though, I went into the movies knowing that they are okay. They may be good movies. So,
Yeah.
but I still liked them a lot.
Hmm.
Two movies I went into them not knowing what they were at all,
Hmm.
and I still ended up really, really enjoying them more than
Hmm.
anything is because you don't really make silly movies like these anymore, and
Sure.
nobody really talks about silly movies. It's just silly movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
One such movie is Death of a Unicorn, which I
Yeah.
thought was fascinating. No
Okay.
matter what people come and say about Death of a Unicorn, I think Death of a
Hmm.
Unicorn as a narrative is very good. Like it
Okay.
knows when it transforms from so effectively it is a low fantasy. It is a low
Hmm.
fantasy. It has a lot of supernatural elements, etc., etc. But it moves from low fantasy to becoming something where it is now taking into so now it is becoming an urban fantasy and legend sort of stuff, and they're also bringing in environmentalism and
Hmm.
environmental consciousness without really talking about it, and they
Okay.
critique the liberal arts like crazy. So
Hmm.
like that's also there. They're talking about how activism, liberal arts activism is like shite, but it's also an
Hmm.
eat the rich movie. So it's also
Yeah.
shifting into genres without really drawing too much attention to either of the genres. And
Okay.
then it just is like a great example of low fantasy. And you don't get to see such good examples of low fantasy in movies, I think,
Hmm.
unless and until it's horror. But even then, at one point of time, they need to stress on the fact that this is fantasy after all. That
Yeah.
is something that I think Death of a Unicorn did really, really well. And it's just a very nice, silly movie. So
Yeah.
that was great. The other movie that I also enjoyed, and like a lot of people are liking it, is The Ugly Stepsister.
I've heard of
Because
this one being very good. Horror film,
Not
right?
heard about this at all.
It's a horror
yeah,
film,
The
right?
Ugly
Steps.
Stepsister, it's a body horror movie,
Okay.
and for fun, it's effectively about um it, it's entire the entire Cinderella myth and story and everything, but instead of focusing on Cinderella, they are now focusing on the other sister
Sister.
who went to the ball,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
the
Oh,
lens
that
through which
conceit now.
that
Yeah.
sister, yeah.
Yeah.
So and the lens to which that sister had to adapt herself to go. So a lot of so while this is a fairy tale that they are recontextualizing according to modern times, it is also
Hmm.
still set in, say, back in the day, whenever 1600s, whenever they thought of the
Hmm.
story times. And so a lot of things that they're doing are from them. So the body horror is derived from more of women's expectations of how women should be, which
Sure.
is the fun fact of it, I think. And
Hmm.
of course, because it's about also girls, like them being in teenage, so their hormonal rushes and rages, and how they then fantasize about men, which is and women at the same time, which is a great thing because you generally always see little boys fantasizing women, and how that brings in a dialogue about male desire itself. Here, female
True.
desire is put on the forefront. Here, we are talking about women's expectations of women's bodies and how that kind of confines them to be who they are, sometimes ugly,
Sure.
sometimes pretty, but that is all manufactured beauty, and how beauty was manufactured, say, in the 1600s. And deriving comedy out of this as well as body horror is it was very well done. Like
Sure.
you are going to laugh, but if you take a minute right after the movie ends to sit, you just be like, man, the lengths to which women went to make themselves be presentable to
Yeah.
bloody charming princess. It's hilarious. Like they're drawing a comedy out of that. It's so good. So I think
I think.
these are the two movies. Yes.
So no, I mean we do our every year a horror movie catch up thing. I think this is due for a bunch of stuff which is out. I think Ugly Stepsister was one of them.
You are so good at pointing out your analysis, Ahendrila. Are you a film critic? You used to be one,
Oh,
na?
I am a retired.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a bunch of movies though we want to. I think Bring Her Back is the other one, which is another
Bring Her
horror
Back,
film
I
which
really
is
want to see.
released.
It's out online.
And then a couple
It's
of
out.
Oh
others.
yes, yes.
I mean,
It's
Yes.
already lined up for tomorrow.
yeah, I've heard good things. Sally Hawkins
Yeah, I
is
have
in
heard.
it.
I have heard very hard things. Basically, like it's.
Sally Hawkins is in it, right?
I
Yeah,
That is
yeah, Sally
already an odd combination of
read-
like
Hmm.
horror and Sally Hawkins.
Bolo,
Anyway.
I
bolo,
ended up
bolo.
watching a lot of random movies. Like I watched something called Marshmallow in my pursuit of finding horror movies. Effectively,
No, no,
Uh-huh.
I also I stumbled upon these names, but I've not seen any of them. But
Yeah.
Marshmallow Man, right,
So
or something like that.
yeah, no, it's just Marshmallow, and then also
Marshmallow, okay.
these are these dinky little movies with a very little budget.
Yeah.
But let
I
me
watched
play on
I
the.
watched a movie yesterday. It's basically like a DTV action movie, basically direct to video action movie. It stars direct to video action movie stars Scott Adkins and Marco Zaror. Okay, it's directed by a guy named Ernesto Diaz Esperanza. It's really good. Like at the very least, I wasn't expecting. Like the action is great because, of course, it's like high budget. Within this low budget, you're making martial arts action movies and all that stuff. So you expect a modicum of quality. First of all, the quality is exceptional, but then there is legitimate emotional acting from Scott Adkins, who historically is not a very good actor. So from that regard, I'm like, okay, this is like his version of Man on Fire meets Marco Zarro's version of Terminator, and that's like, I'm like, interesting combination, and it's really good. I was impressed.
It's out online, right? All of these movies, I think,
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
whatever
All of
we've
these
talked
are
about,
out,
most of them are outline. Which is not F1 is not. F1's the only one I think which we've talked about, which is an.
F1 ऑनलाइन क्यों देख रहे हो हॉल में जाके देखो
Cinemas.
अरे सर किसी
No,
का
it
मन नहीं
isn't.
कर रहा होगा like मेरा but I went ना but I
But you
it's
went.
sort of this
That's the thing.
But you went.
I went because my cousin wanted to watch it. I didn't want to watch it. I'm very clear about
Your
it.
cousin
Sir,
was
ये तो
chaperone
basically-
you were on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boys in the Band. Okay, noted. Chris.
So I just wanted to
It's
highlight
Friedkin's
this.
first movie. It's Friedkin's first movie, I think. Boys in the Band, if I'm not mistaken. It
Yeah.
was his first movie. Yeah. Good movie.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's
Very
it
good movie.
for today. Any other thoughts, guys? I think we've spoken more than
I think
maybe.
I think that's just about it. The only last thing that we had on our agenda was talking a little bit about the teaser
Oh,
of
yes.
The Man that has come out.
I
Do
forgot.
we need to?
You guys saw it. I didn't. You fill me in. I have not seen it. Tell me what it's about.
I don't know.
Isn't
what
it he
there is to
jumping
film.
from some tree?
I mean, that's
Yes.
the thing, right? It was so surprising. They built it up so much, and then it's just a bunch of now.
Oh,
Sanjeev, sir,
एक साल- how
Sanjeet
much-
is
when is it
literally
releasing?
Sanjeet is literally not trying to voice his opinions at all because he is
It's
such
like
a
But I have
Come
a
on.
boy.
different problem. I have a different problem. They say it's the war of words, but the war of words is Mahabharata.
Mahabharata,
So
yes.
That's yeah. I mean, their mythology
Why
is
are
also-
they building? Why are they building up this epic to be something entirely different from the epic it actually
Mahabharat,
is?
but Mahabharat,
No, I
the
mean,
tussle is
they
between right
really-
now. I think between Rajamouli and Amir to see who gets it made first.
Yeah.
Given how long Rajamouli takes to make a movie,
I am just
Amir.
looking at Sanjeet's expression and seeing him trying not to say anything.
Arey, Sanjeet is not.
Arey
told us,
Sanjeet,
he's
but you
already
can say
asked
this
us
and then
Krishna.
we can finish on drama. And Sanjeet is the only one who's watched it. Debolina.
Metro
How is
in
it?
दिनों हाँ कैसा है
Decent,
कैसा है
decent. If you have time, just go. Otherwise,
How
It's
how
just
much which other Billy Wilder film has been copied this time?
Oh God.
he's copying himself. There's no story.
He's copying himself. Okay. I'm a
सर
Anurag
4
Basu
साल
fan,
से
by the
मूवी
way,
बनाएगा तो
but
ऐसा ही
whatever.
होगा ना क्या कर सकते हैं
You know the reported budget of Metro is 85.
Please
crores.
don't tell me. Everyone will probably have a heart attack.
Yeah.
85 crores.
Huh?
So it
Where
needs
did
to
they
be
shoot it?
effectively a business of 170 crores.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, honestly.
No,
I mean,
in this one, it doesn't have Bombay. It has like metro cities everywhere. It's like Delhi, Bangalore,
Yeah,
Pune,
because
Mumbai.
flying is possible now.
Oh, so it's like
2007 में
basically
इतना आसान नहीं था ना.
But literally everything is on set and blue screen. Literally.
anyways,
so it's
And Kolkata
basically
also.
modern love. So it's
Effectively
basically
modern love
modern
India.
love और शहर का
हाँ, वही है.
compressed, हाँ.
oh,
I
yeah.
can't before you did. Yeah.
It's there in
Right.
Kolkata also, like some part, like literally one shot.
What? Oh, I thought you said Konkana Sen Sharma will be in Kolkata because of course.
No, she's
I
not
want
there. She's in a different storyline.
I want to know. I just want to piss Amartya off a little bit because the Ramayana.
Arey, you have to talk about Ramayan. You only told me Varun.
That's only what I'm saying. Ramayana teaser.
Well,
Why are you going to
sorry,
piss me off?
Nitish
Arey,
Tiwari's
क्या बोलने वाले
Ramayan, not anything
it's
else.
actually Namit.
Not the
Malhotra's
actual
Ramayana.
text.
Namit Malhotra's.
Okay,
Ramayana.
no, it's not
He's the-
Nitish
that's-
अच्छा
Tiwari.
हाँ क्या piss off
Basically,
करने
he's
वाले
the
हैं?
director. He's the
Wait,
hired
wait.
hand.
Did you just assume Nitesh Tiwari? Like that just feels like a name picked off the streets of North India.
No, he's the director.
Nitish
Director of
Tiwari
Dangal.
is the director of Dangal. What the hell?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What the hell?
I did question myself for 1 second after you said this.
But it's also a name that's picked off the streets of North
It is.
India.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, it
तो
is,
वो
but,
पेरेंट्स का
he's-
गलती है ना
हाँ.
वो तो हम लोग का गलती नहीं है
So the writer of this great enterprise is none other than Sridhar Raghavan.
somebody quote posted on Twitter ki Valmiki has range.
Funny.
Now, but you know I don't know who they'll get to do the dialogue, which is my big concern, right? Because if the dialogue is even one word is in Urdu,
A bus tire.
they'll be so badly screwed. I mean, they've
We
already
haven't talked
they've
about
already got
one
Rahman for
trailer.
music, which is
Yeah, we
bad
have-
enough, right? अब bus
we-
tire वाला को बुलाएंगे तो और आग लगेगी.
Did you
रहमान
just say
नहीं है
A.R.
सर
Rahman
रहमान
is
के
giving the
साथ कोई
music and
और
that's
है
bad enough?
That's
रहमान
bad
के
enough
साथ
from the
कोई और है
perspective
in
of
this
certain
movie.
religious groups, bro.
Oh, okay. I thought you said just in terms of the
रहमान के
quality of
साथ
the
कोई
music.
और है in this movie.
Hans Zimmer.
Hans, no Hans.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer.
Two people who
Yeah.
get their students to make the music and put it
Yes,
out.
basically. We haven't talked about one trailer which is not officially out yet, but it got leaked.
Which one?
Arey, Christopher,
Hans.
sir.
The Odyssey.
Odyssey. I mean,
The Odyssey
I
का trailer.
didn't see it.
somebody.
Haven't seen.
I mean,
Me
this really.
I
dragged
saw
me
the
up.
But he-
teaser and I'm like, ठीक है, like it's
It's something
good.
sensational. It's something
It's good.
sensational.
It's good. I'm like, it's Nolan. Of course, I'm going to see it, but there
I
is
was
a
like, picture तो
conversation
देखोगे ही
scene
ना,
between.
trailer से क्या फर्क
You
पड़ता
know,
है?
you know, before Ramayana, by the way, Hans Zimmer already gave music for another Indian film.
Fateh by Sonu Sood.
Fateh.
I know this.
I saw that movie. That movie is dog
आप ही
shit
देखने
of
वाले
the
सर और
highest
कोई नहीं
order.
देखता ऐसी पिक्चरें. You've taken
That
away
movie
my
is-
mantle and you've literally put a trophy which says I watch every shit which Sanjeev used to do.
Yes.
अभी बैंक चोर रिलीज होगी ना वो भी you will go and watch with Ritesh Deshmukh and
I don't.
Directed by
You know,
Bumpy.
this is the one
Bumpy.
good thing. Ek second. This is the one good thing about being employed. I don't have time. This is the one good thing about being employed. I don't have time.
Bumpy
Yeah,
is
Hindi
good
cinema is in doldrums because of you.
Bumpy is competing
Yeah.
with worst director name with Cookie Bullet.
Kuti
Kuti
Gulati.
I love that guy, man.
And good.
What a cookie guy.
But
Okay, I think we are.
Cookie.
I think we
there's also a new
We are
Salman
done.
movie that's been announced today, by the way.
Huh?
Oh,
Don't say
Do
the
we
most
care?
we are done in the
Unfortunately, yes,
like
because
the
this is Salman, directed by
Should I just
Apurva
end the
Lakhia.
stream?
It's like
Apurva
the
Lakhia.
worst
Like, you know,
title
while
I
he's
ever.
think
speaking.
I think
Hey, he's made Shoot Out and
I
Local
think
Runner, which I like.
18 years ago.
I think that's
After
Khatam,
that,
guys.
he's made.
Khatam. 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 Khatam.
Finish
Khatam.
Finish
Khatam.
this.
Khatam.
Finish the
Khatam.
stream.
Khatam. Khatam.
Khatam,
Finish the
khatam.
stream.
Sorry.
Khatam, khatam.